these days I'll be alright. There's nothing here that I don't like. Just being me, living through my scars as I watch the clouds near and far. Hard to live within the truth, the memories of my youth. I'm doing my best to get it together, no matter the storm of the weather. Living like I had nothing to lose, not allowing them to light my fuse. I know I can't be the only one, a different path I never dreamed I'd find. It's a beautiful day to start with own mind. Live your best life, I'm not crazy. Stay a while, don't worry about tomorrow. Live for today, one of these days I'll be alright. There's nothing here that I don't like. Just being me, living through my scars as I watch the clouds near and far. Hard to live what's in the truth, the memories of my youth. I'm doing my best to get it together, no matter the storm or the weather. Living like I have nothing to lose, not allowing them to light my fuse. I know I can't be the only one, a different path I never dreamed I'd find. It's a beautiful day to start with on my live your best life. I'm not crazy, stay a while, don't worry about tomorrow. Live for today, one of these days I'll be alright. There's nothing here that I don't like. Just being me, living through my scars as I watch the clouds near and far. To live within the truth, the memories of my youth. I'm doing my best to get it together.
The rubber around the model room welcomes all. Thanks for stopping by, answering the call. Ups and downs are normal for some of us. Many days I beg to get off this life bus. Neon lights flicker, my shadow on the wall. Dreams on the ceiling, we run and then we fall. Sharing stories over paper cups. Wheels keep turning but never enough. Life's a ride on a rickety old track, holding on tight, never looking back. In the rubber Ramada room we confide, laugh, cry, love in this crazy ride. Dusty postcards from the edge of nowhere, heartbeats echo in the electric air. We dance on tables without to wait, cry in the rubber Ramada room, we're all high.
I'm over here talking and ain't nobody saying a word. I got this thing on mute. I have talked for almost 2 minutes. Hi, welcome in. Hi, it's Sheila, Rubber Ramada Room. Geez, what is even happening? It is, I don't even know what. Okay, today is Wednesday. It is November 19th. I'm sitting here talking to myself because I'm on mute. We're going to play the babies again, just so I can talk for a minute. Anyways, yes, all the babies are well. Lola is doing very well. She is she's tending to her babies wonderfully. She has been a great mother. A couple of them have brown and black mixed in them. There's one that's a solid gray. There's one that looks like meat that's black and white. They haven't opened their eyes yet or anything. They are just precious. They are just precious. And daddy's all, meat thinks he needs to go play. And Lola says, no, we're not playing with my babies. You cannot get near me. You have to stay on the outside of my big kennel. And she wants nothing to do with me right now. She's like, you can just stay out of my life. You caused this problem. I don't like you. So that's where we stand with the babies. Let me just pause there. I need to fix my screen real quick. And it's not going to let me. Oh, there it goes. There's my screen. I was trying to fix my screen. I was like, what is wrong? Why am I in a square? Why is my little snowman not dancing for me? I just decided to do something a little wild and different today. I was playing with backgrounds, trying something new, trying to get into the festive spirit of holidays. I am not a holiday person. I do not do well during the holidays, but I'm trying to be a little festive over here. So with that, we have a couple stories we're going to jump into today. Let's see. But first, because it's the holidays and I'm not sure if we're going to meet up again, you never know. So we're just going to share just a moment of
Gabba gobble gobble gabba gobble doing the bird. A gabba gobble gobble gabba gobble doing the bird. A gala gulu gulu chaka laka doing the bird. A gabba taka laka raka raka doing the bird. A gabba gobble gobble hey hey gotta do some foul play. Everybody's doing the bird.
So if I miss anybody, I hope you'll all have a happy Thanksgiving. I should be here next week, but we come and go as the holidays happen. A lot of people are unable to make streams and stuff. So we're going to go into the story of Anna Kemper today. Anna Kemper, just let me see. Okay, hang on a minute here. Yeah. Anna Kemper. And I'm having a hard time saying her name, and I want y'all to understand. I grew up in a little town called Sugarland. And in Sugarland, it is run by a family named Kepner, Kempner. So I'm having a hard time saying her name as Kepner because I want to put my letters in there that I grew up saying, being from Sugarland, and the Kepner family being a prominent owner of the Imperial Sugar Factory in Sugarland, Texas. So I'm having a hard time saying her name properly. So please excuse me if I do mispronounce it. So what I wanted to roll in first was Anna Kemper she was an 18-year-old Florida high school senior, and she was found deceased under mysterious circumstances aboard a Carnival Horizon cruise ship on November 7th, 2025. It's being currently under investigation by the FBI, and recent court documents suggest the step-sibling may face charges in connection with the case. Anna's body was reportedly found by a maid, wrapped in a blanket and covered in life jackets and hidden under a bed in her stateroom cabin. She had reportedly felt ill during dinner the night before, and her body was found before her body was found, and returned to her room when she was feeling ill. And her Death was determined to have occurred the morning of Friday, November 7th in international waters, which caused great divide in being able to investigate the case with it being out in international waters. Anna was on a family vacation with her with her father, stepmother, Chantel Hudson, and 3 minor siblings. And from what I have found is, hey, Forrest, I'll pause for a minute and welcome y'all in. I know I just kind of rolled into talking. Shauna, hello, welcome in. Thank you for being here. From what I have found, Chantel and Anna's father have recently been married. So we're going to share that. I got all my documents from Plunder. And this states Christopher and Chantel were married recently, which I didn't quite understand because we're going to go over here. And Chantel doesn't want to testify against whatever's happening. So I'm not sure. I haven't read through the entire case yet. I just know bits and excerpts that she was on a vacation with her father and her stepmother, Chantel. Chantel has pled the 5th, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on. So I figured, what the hell? We're just going to go over this and watch this together. She had a nickname. She was called Aunt Banana to her family. She also was a senior at Temple Christian School in Titusville, Florida. She was an A student and a varsity cheerleader. She had plans to join the U.S. Navy after graduation and eventually becoming a K-9 police officer. Her family and friends described her as bubbly, funny, outgoing, and completely herself. Tomorrow, there is a celebration of Anna's life at Grove Church in Titusville tomorrow night, but her family has requested privacy and to end online speculation, which I have a hard time with that. I mean, the facts that are out there is what people are interested in, and I understand the families need their space and all that, and we all should be respectful of that. But they will be having a celebration of life tomorrow for her. What I want to do is, this came through last night, like in the middle of the night, they just started discussing it. So we're going to watch this one short 2.5 minute clip. We'll do a reading, and then we're going to jump over to Law and Crime on the case, and they have a little excerpt, a 30-minute type video over it that we're just going to review. I don't know the case, and I'm just going to learn it with y'all.
I'm your community correspondent, Troy Campbell, and right now we are in the newsroom because
I'm going to boost the sound.
We are going over new court documents related to the death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. She was on a cruise ship when this incident happened on November 7th. Now, all along, the FBI has said they are investigating, but they didn't release any other details about a cause of death. However, new court documents filed in an unrelated court custody case show more details on where that investigation stands tonight. New court documents filed Tuesday in the custody case of Chantel Hudson Kepner, the stepmother of 18-year-old Anna Kepner, the teen who died on a Carnival cruise ship on November 7th. In the documents, Hudson Kepner argues to delay testifying in a court custody hearing with her ex-husband. The reason? She cites discussions with the FBI's Miami office, saying the agency told her, quote, a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children.
So one of the minor children being one of her stepchildren. This is why I wanted to kind of do this together, because I don't know the facts, and I just figured we'll just run through it together. And when we finish this one, I have 2 cold cases that I want to review that arrests have been made with those 2. But back to this. So one is deceased. There's 3 other siblings, is what I'm gathering. There's 3 other siblings, and one of them might be implicated. Let's rewind that a second. And she's worried about things that have been said.
On where that investigation stands tonight. New court documents filed Tuesday in the custody case of Chantel Hudson Kepner, the the stepmother of 18-year-old Anna Kepner, the teen who died on a Carnival cruise ship on November 7th. In the documents, Hudson Kepner argues to delay testifying in a court custody hearing with her ex-husband. The reason? She cites...
Wait, he said ex-husband. He said ex-husband. Her ex-husband. I thought... See, and that's what one of... Is this a mixed a mixed family? You know, like she brought some, he brought some. Like I said, we're just gonna go through all this together because I'm learning.
Discussions with the FBI's Miami office, saying the agency told her, quote, a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children. Therefore, Hudson Kepner is requesting a judge postpone the hearing, citing privilege against self-incrimination. 18-year-old Anna Kepner was a senior at Temple Christian School in Titusville. CBS News says investigators say a housekeeper discovered her body underneath the bed in her room on the ship. CBS also says detectives are reviewing surveillance video and cell phone data. Kepner's car was parked at the school following her death, and it became a makeshift memorial.
Her faith in God.
Oh, that is so sad. To put that, okay, it's her ex, not the father of the girl. Okay. Wow, that was a rough sight to see that.
School following her.
She was only 18. Can you imagine her car? Oh, this is just heartbreaking. You know, I mean, the mental and again, I go back to the mental health, you know, because that's a lot of where my topics go is the mental health. The students, her friends, her family. She was a cheerleader, so obviously she was popular and well known.
Her death, and it became a makeshift memorial.
Her faith in God was really present in all of the kids, and that's really helped them through a lot.
I see that spot, and it just makes my heart melt for the family. I can only imagine the pain that they're going through.
And I will stop to pause. You can see the heartache in this woman's face, whether she has connection to this young lady or not. It affects so many when things like this happen.
Kepner was described as being a caring person who volunteered in her grandparents' neighborhood. She was on board Carnival Cruise Line's Carnival Horizon. The ship carries up to 4,000 guests. Court documents confirm her minor step-siblings were on board the ship as well. Kepner's death was reported one day before the ship was scheduled to return to Port Miami. Following her death, Carnival Cruise Lines released a statement saying in part, quote, our focus is on supporting the family of our guests. We spoke with parents outside the school where Kepner attended on the Monday following her death, who say they were devastated.
The family deserves all their time to mourn. I hope that they get whatever answers they need answered.
Hopefully there's some closure in the near future for the family. I would want that if it was my child.
And as of now, it's unclear if any charges have been filed.
Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of read through a little bit. It does say here, a step-sibling may be charged after Titusville teen mysteriously dies on Carnival cruise ship. Anna Kepner, 18, found beneath bed in her stateroom. It says over a week after 18-year-old Titusville student was found deceased aboard a Carnival cruise ship, new court documents show one of her step-siblings may be investigated. The student, let me move this over here so I can see it better. Okay, sorry. The student identified as Anna Kepner as a senior in Temple Christian High School was found deceased on November 7th aboard the cruise ship. Investigators have yet to release many details about her death. More specifically, though, those documents come up as part of a motion by Kepner's stepmother, Chantel Hudson, to delay a child custody hearing with her ex-husband. Okay, so those documents came up as part of a motion by Kepner's stepmother, Chantel, to delay a child custody hearing with her ex-husband. I know this is what I'm learning as we go. This is an extremely sensitive and severe circumstances has arisen where Hudson will not be able to testify at the hearing at this time. According to these records obtained by News 6, Hudson, her 2 minor children, and Kepner's father were all aboard the ship together with Kepner. However, the motion also claims FBI investigators told Hudson that a criminal case may be pursued against one of her minor children. Yes, that's what I'm reading. The custody is with her ex, not her current husband. But these minor children were aboard the cruise ship and may have knowledge. According to CBS News, Kepner's body was reportedly discovered by a housekeeper and underneath the bed in her stateroom. Also reports detectives are reviewing surveillance video from the ship and obtaining cell phone data as part of their inquiry. Following her death, students, community members created a memorial around her car, which remained parked at the school. Okay. Okay, so let's watch this. I hate when these things play in my background and I don't even know they're playing. Okay, so this is going to be the story about this. This will give us more hearing. I'm reading Cindy's comment, custody hearing. I'm reading and talking at the same time. I'm not multitasking well today. So let's watch this. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. This is Law and Crime on the Case.
We have a big update in the search for answers into how an 18-year-old high school cheerleader wound up dead aboard a Carnival cruise ship. We have learned who was reportedly with Anna Kepner when she went on a cruise to the Caribbean, where she would ultimately lose her life. And we're also learning, according to reports, about where her body was allegedly found, quote, stuffed under a bed. But does that mean this?
She's so pretty. And if anybody wants to watch without my commentary, the link is in the chat. And I do not delete my chats. So if you are on Replay Crew, thank you for being here. Hit the thumbs up if you like the stream, and make sure your notification bells are turned on, because my lives are sporadic. Woo, my words are not working today. They are sporadic. I do try to go Monday through Thursday at 3 Central. Some days don't work out for me. And I do pop up lives every once in a while. So thank you for being here.
Bright young girl is the victim of a murder. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Into this episode of On the Case, I need to talk about our partner and sponsor. Go to cashback. Really would a promo code into the death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. Even her family have told media outlets that they are still waiting for information from the Bureau. And that silence by investigators, it has only fueled some gruesome online speculation into what happened to Anna Kepner. Now, this is video that was taken by a TV reporter named Sheldon Fox. He's with WSVN in Miami, and this is of a body being taken off of.
And, that's what I was wondering, too, is was she sharing a room with her step-sibling? I know you meant to write step-siblings. Step-siblings and her parents had a separate room. What happened in that room? I've got questions. And like I said, I haven't watched this, so this is going to be all fresh for me.
Of a Carnival cruise ship in Miami, and this is of a body being taken off of a Carnival cruise ship called the Horizon on Saturday, November 8th. That body was then taken to the medical examiner's office in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Now, that body is believed to be 18-year-old Anna Kepner. We now know more information that may line up with the timeline that the medical examiner put out about when Anna Kepner died. The ME listed her time of death as 11:17 in the morning on November 7th. That is the day before the Horizon arrived back at port in Miami. According to reports from the Daily Mail, Kepner was on the cruise with her family. That includes her dad and his wife. it is unclear how many other family members were with them on this cruise. The Daily Mail reportedly spoke to family who,
which we know, according to what we were just listening to, there was three siblings. I didn't write it down. Somebody said 2, but I heard 3 somewhere else. So I know voice to text doesn't work half the time for me, Cindy.
Claim that Anna's family took the cruise aboard the Horizon, a massive Carnival cruise ship that can carry roughly 4,000 passengers. It's really a floating city when you think of all the restaurants, the hotel rooms, the places for people to hang out, to have an incredible experience on board for a vacation. And this ship left Miami on a 6-day cruise through the Western Caribbean, places like Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and Cozumel, Mexico.
I have been on a cruise to Cayman, Cozumel, all that. That was the one cruise that I've been on in my life, and that was super exciting. I enjoyed every minute of it. These stops were beautiful. I didn't know Jamaica had mountains. Never knew. It was the most interesting cruise, only cruise I've ever taken, but it was so enlightening and so educational for me. So if you ever get a chance to take a cruise, I always recommend somebody at least do it once in your lifetime. It's an experience. Unfortunately, we have to look at the fact that this young lady, 18 years old, took a cruise and lost her life, which is sad. Very sad.
Now, we know through her TikTok that this was actually the second Carnival cruise that Anna went on this year. This is a video that she posted in May, being on a cruise with her family that read, quote, "I want to go back." Now, this ship was on its way back to Miami after it had stopped in Mexico when something went horribly wrong. Now, Kepner isn't someone who appears to be a person who regularly got in trouble. Quite the opposite, actually. She was a varsity cheerleader, a former gymnast, and she had big plans. When she graduated high school in May, her parents told ABC News that she had recently completed a test to join the military after high school. She one day wanted to become a police officer in her hometown of Titusville, Florida, so she could protect people. Titusville is about 3.5 hours north of Miami, along what's called the Space Coast in Florida, because it's close to the Kennedy Space Center. All right, let's talk about this new information that we are learning about what happened during the final day that Kepner was seen alive aboard this cruise ship. It was November 6th in the evening. Kepner reportedly did not feel well, and she told her family while they were eating dinner that she was going to go back to her cabin. Now, this is according to sources who spoke to the Daily Mail. It's not uncommon for someone at the end of a 6-day cruise to not feel well when you think of the time at sea, the food, all of that. And Kepner went back to her stateroom, the outlet reports, and that was the end of the evening. So then we go to the next morning. That is November 7th. Kepner's dad and his wife met up for breakfast, but there was no sign of Anna Kepner. Her body was found at 11 o'clock that morning in her cabin. Her body was found reportedly by a maid when the maid entered the room to service it. Now, according to the Daily Mail, which claims to have spoken to 2 anonymous sources, Kepner's body, quote, was found wrapped in a blanket, covered over with life jackets, and stuffed under a bed.
You know, it is a miracle that she was found. Okay, kudos to that maid for her cleaning abilities, because I'm not gonna lie, she just under the bed with all wrapped in a blanket, life jacket. Where did they get the life? I understand they're on a boat, but I'm trying to picture the mentality of what made them do. Covering her with this, what? Oh, Lord. Ooh. Wrong button, Sheila.
Now, as covered over with life, Kepner's body, quote, was found wrapped in a blanket, covered over with life jackets, and stuffed under a bed. Now, as a reminder, we do not know the condition Anna's body was in, and the FBI has not confirmed anything about whether foul play is involved in Anna's death. And we also don't know Anna's cause of.
I understand they're not going to say all that yet, but I feel it's very safe to assume there's foul play involved. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun or anything like that, but how they found her is obviously foul play involved. In my opinion only, do your own research. Where would kids hide a body on a cruise? You know, Cindy? Under a bed. Thinking out loud. Answering that question. Under a bed. Oh, I didn't want to answer that. Now I just want to just put all that back in my mouth.
Anna's body was in, and the FBI has not confirmed anything about whether foul play is involved in Anna's death. And we also don't know Anna's cause of death at this point. We do know the medical examiner ruled her time of death as 11:17 in the morning on November 7th. And that may line up with when the maid reportedly found her body inside the cabin when the maid entered the room to service it. The Horizon returned to port in Miami the next day on November 8th, and that is when we see the video by WSVN of.
Okay, pause. As a parent, I'm sorry, my mental health thoughts just flooding, overloading here. Okay, words are not working well for me today, if y'all cannot tell. To know I'm stuck on a cruise ship with my deceased child until we can make port. Oh, that's a lot to hold on to. I mean, 24 hours before they hit port again. And knowing, I wonder if the kids had rugs and she OD'd and didn't want to get caught. That's so true. So true. Hiding the body seems like a way. Right. You're exactly right, Forrest. Hiding it is obviously just. But if she did they have separate rooms? Was she in a room with the siblings and the parents had a separate room? Because those rooms are small on these cruise ships. You're not going to put 5 people in a room. And we know there was at least 2 other siblings with her on this cruise ship, step-siblings. So Ava's back. Hey, Ava. Okay.
Kepner next day on November 8th. And that is when we see the video by WSVN of Kepner's body being unloaded from the ship. Now, according to Cruise Blog, which covers the industry, passengers said that they heard an alert for a medical emergency on deck 8 of the Horizon, and there were a handful of guests that were notified that they needed to vacate their staterooms earlier than they usually would on the day the ship returned to port. The blog also says that the ship turned around and started its next cruise on the 8th, the same day that it had returned to port in Miami.
Wait, what? They don't hold the boat for investigation or... Ooh, wait a minute. They sent the boat right back out. They didn't, I have questions. They sent the boat right back out, y'all.
The blog also that it had returned to port. They needed to vacate their staterooms earlier than they usually would on the day the ship returned to port. The blog also says that the ship turned around and started its next cruise on the 8th, the same day that it had returned to port in Miami with Kepner's body on board. That ship stuck to schedule and it returned to Miami on November 16th. Passengers who were on the next cruise said when they boarded, the deck where Kepner's body was found was blocked off. Again, all of these reports have not been confirmed by police or investigators. Anna's body has been handed over to a funeral home near her hometown where she will be laid to rest. Initial autopsy results have not been released, and it could take several weeks for final results to be.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was so rude of me. I had a phone call. It was Hector. Starter's going out on the car. I'm sorry about that. Okay. I have to rewind so I can catch what I missed. I know StreamYard just shut down and told me something went wrong. So thank y'all for being patient. We have audio now. Are we back up? Ava says we lost audio. Can y'all hear me? And can y'all hear the stream when I hit play? Forrest says the person that did this would have known the ship was doing a turnaround for customers. Maybe they were hoping the body would go unnoticed until the ship started the next cruise. You have a very good point. A very good point. Very good point. Because I find it very sus that they actually, just turned around and went back out. And if she was in a room with minors, how minors wouldn't understand that. I wouldn't think minors would understand that. Okay. All right. We'll rewind just a little bit and we're going to hit play again. Hey, Queen Olive. Glad to see you, hun.
On the 8th, the same day that it had returned to port in Miami with Kepner's body on board. That ship stuck to schedule and it returned to Miami on November 16th. Passengers who were on the next cruise said when they boarded, the deck where Kepner's body was found was blocked off. Again, all of these reports have not been confirmed by police or investigators.
So that area was blocked off. Was it blocked? I mean, did they do investigation? Did they just send it out to sea with police on board? I've got questions.
Anna's body has been handed over to a funeral home near her hometown where she will be laid to rest. Initial autopsy results have not been released, and it could take several weeks for final results to be made public. That is per FloridaToday.com. I reached out to Carnival Cruise Lines for a statement, and this is what they've told us. Quote, the death of a guest traveling on the Carnival Horizon voyage that returned to Port Miami on Saturday morning, November 8th, is being investigated by the FBI. Since this is an ongoing matter under the jurisdiction of law enforcement, it is up to the FBI's Miami Public Affairs Office to provide further details. Our focus is on supporting the family of our guest. When the
Forrest, they said that the passengers heard an alert on it said for deck 8 that they needed to clear deck 8. So did they, as soon as she found it at 11:17 was her declaration time of death. So when they found her, did they immediately clear the deck area of deck 8 and say, okay, y'all need to come? How did they get their stuff to get off the boat?
FBI takes over a case. It definitely gets a lot of attention, but it's important to note that that does not mean that foul play is involved. The FBI says it is in charge of looking into suspicious deaths of U.S. nationals. On its website, the FBI says, quote, the authority of the FBI to investigate criminal offenses and enforce laws of the U.S. on cruise ships, on other vessels on the high seas, or within the territorial waters of the U.S. depends on several factors, including the location of the vessel, nationality of the perpetrator or victim, and we don't know if there is a perpetrator in this case, ownership of the vessel, points of embarkation and debarkation, and country in which the vessel is flagged. Now,
this guy's irritating me saying no foul play. I know they can't. This, here I am speculating, assuming, guessing, and I hate that. I hate that with a passion. I want facts. I want to put facts. I need knowledge. Don't tell me. And how can you say there's no? Okay. So the authority of the FBI is to investigate criminal offenses and enforce laws in the U.S. on cruise ships, on other vessels on the high seas, or within territorial waters of the U.S. Depends on several factors. The location of the vessel. So are you saying that if this vessel is on the port of Jamaica, there's different rules? Who owns the vessel? So is that Carnival Cruise Line owns the vessel? What's another? There's big major ones. So ownership points of, so again, points of embarkment and debarkment means were they like on the coast of Jamaica? Were they ported in the Cayman Islands? So I guess that depends on who gets to investigate. But wait, if she was found on the 7th, the morning of the 7th, but it was a day before, where were they? What port were they? I need, see, right, Forrest, right. Curious and curiouser. I need more answers. I have more questions than I have answers right now. I'd imagine the cave, they gave them a chance to gather their belongings before evacuating the fort. They had to say, go get all your belongings, get off the boat. Y'all need to leave now. Clear this floor. Number 8. But if they did that on the 7th and it didn't, where did they put all those people between the 7th and the 8th? Because it didn't port until the 8th. So they had a whole 24 hours.
it goes on to say, generally, the U.S. has jurisdiction over crimes committed on a ship if the crime occurs within the maritime jurisdiction of the.
Let me rewind him. Let him play. Let it play. He might answer your questions. See, this is my problem. Let it play. He might answer your questions. I'll be quiet a minute and let him play.
Vessel is flagged. Now, it goes on to say, generally, the U.S. has jurisdiction over crimes committed on a ship if the crime occurs within the maritime jurisdiction of the United States and the vessel is owned in whole or in part by a U.S. person or company. Additionally, there is jurisdiction over crimes committed by or against a U.S. national on board a foreign vessel if the crime occurs during a voyage having a scheduled departure from or arrival in the U.S. So you can see why the FBI would be involved in this case. Ships like the Horizon.
You might have a point here, Cindy. Covering himself, it could have been accidental or illness, but hiding on the body could be so. Again, just open discussion here. It could be somebody panicked, hid the body under the bed for fear of being blamed for something. Yeah, they always have vacant rooms, but man, a whole floor?
Again, they are massive. And the cruise line has its own security team on board, but also the company has.
Just for conversation part, I know that when I went on my cruise, I got so lost walking the floors of that cruise ship. There's so many levels, so many just things to do and things to see. I got lost multiple times.
Corporate security who communicate with the FBI about any potential crimes that happen on board the ship. And we've been told many people who are part of these corporate security teams can be former members of the FBI. On its website, Carnival says it has invested billions of dollars in just the last decade on security on its ship, and quote, all ships are also monitored 24/7 in a state-of-the-art fleet operations center at our headquarters in Miami. In addition to electronic monitoring of all ship systems, the FOC is staffed by technical, marine, operations, and nautical experts to provide troubleshooting and problem-solving resources to the ship's captain and leadership team. It's unclear what kind of cameras they had on Anna the night that she died. We also don't know if Anna's death is foul play, but we had to look up just how many times murders happen on cruise ships because it felt incredibly rare. And according to one blog we found, it is very rare. The only blog that we found that's talked about this is one called Luxury Travel Diva that cites information from the Cruise Lines International Association, which seems like a trade group, that says there have only been 15 deaths due to violence on cruise ships since the year 2000. So it is very rare, especially when you think of just all the information that a ship, that a cruise line would have on every single passenger on board. It is unclear whether we are dealing with that kind of situation here. Joining me now to talk more about this is retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. I know we've talked about this case a little bit. This Daily Mail article comes out, and I'm just being very clear that this is not according to the FBI. This is the Daily Mail through anonymous sources that's reporting this. But if it's true that her body was found in this condition, let's say, wrapped in a blanket, under a bed, with life vests around it, what does that tell you about what the investigation looks like at this point?
I'm interested. I'm going to be quiet and let him talk for a minute because I'm interested.
Well, obviously, she's not going to wrap herself in a blanket and cover herself with life jackets. So there had to be somebody that did that. So that's really what the core of the investigation is going to focus on, is who put her in that state. If she had passed out or she had died of a drug overdose or some other issue, obviously that she would have found it, in a natural state, lying there. But the fact that she was allegedly found in this manner tells me that there are other people that know what happened to her.
Okay. So we're going to pause there. Are you? Oliver, Dan, that is so, they are awesome. Cruises are so fun. So fun. And it's awesome that you're going with somebody, because that's what made it special for me, was I had somebody to share that experience with. I thought it was totally awesome. Okay, so we're going to go over here and we're going to read this real quick. I kind of found this in the background just as we're doing it. So this kind of gives us a little more hang on. So what's happened is there's no longer rumors or speculation. It is stating that her stepbrother is under FBI investigation. There's a new court filing, and let's see. We're going to look at this. I don't know why it's not real clear, and I'm sorry about that. It says it's for the marriage of Thomas Hudson, the former marriage of Thomas Hudson, petitioner, and Chantel Hudson, the respondent, former wife. And it goes through and it says, comes now the respondent Chantel Hudson, by and through the undersigned counsel, hereby files this motion for continuance of hearing on petitioner's emergency motion for contempt and enforcement, which is set for December 17, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Be rescheduled on the grounds, therefore, would state as follows. The undersigned counsel is the attorney of record and has been retained by the respondent in this instant action. An extremely sensitive and severe circumstances has arisen wherein the respondent / mother will not be able to testify at the hearing at this time. Currently, there is an investigation. There's been an investigation being conducted by the FBI arising out of the sudden death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner, who was found deceased on November 9th on 2025 on a Carnival cruise. Miss Anna Kepner, the deceased, is the daughter of the respondent's paramour, and the respondent and minor children of this instant action were all on the cruise ship together. The respondent has been advised through discussions with the FBI investigators and her attorneys that a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children of this instant action. Number 4, the respondent's privileges against self-incrimination must be invoked pursuant to Florida Constitution Article 1-9. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, or be twice put in jeopardy for the same offense, or be compelled in any criminal matter to be a witness against oneself. Any testimony of respondent may give, either written or oral, could be prejudiced to her or her adolescent child in this pending criminal investigation. Therefore, the respondent cannot be compelled to testify. Okay, so that just goes to show, yeah, paramour. Why did they call it a paramour? I mean, it's her new husband. So what, I got questions. Hey, Butterfly, how you doing? Norwegian. Yes, Norwegian. That's another cruise line. Your sister is a pro on cruise. This will be her 11th cruise. I'm excited. My sister's wife passed away in September. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But they already had it planned, so I'm going. That's going to be special. You're going to get to have those memories and that time together. That's going to be beautiful. I hope you enjoy yourself. So there is a FBI. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable over here. So there is an FBI investigation into one of the children. There are documents, so it's no longer just an assumption or speculation. So you should be ride sharing today. Are y'all following each other through chat, guys? Y'all stalking each other through chats. Must be an American owned for FBI to be in charge of an investigation. I think it depends on where it is in the water. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Ruth Ann. But you're going to enjoy yourself. You really are. You're going to enjoy yourself.
And the last time I think we spoke, one of the big pieces of information that we had from authorities was the medical examiner in Miami-Dade County said on November 7th, 11:17 in the morning, that's what her time of death was listed as. And then you have this article saying it was around 11 o'clock in the morning that the maid on that day goes into her room. Would a time of death be listed for when someone was found? If that's when the maid found her, or would that mean that there's something more there potentially?
No, and I'm kind of surprised they even released that information, but the time of death is the time of death. They're going to be able to ascertain that from the examination of the body, from blood tests, from a variety of the state of the body. I mean, the science behind identifying the time of death for a deceased is very advanced, so they can get it pretty close to what the actual.
But if the maid came in at 11 and they announced her time of death at 11:17, I think that's there's so much we don't know, and I need answers. And welcome in, Dandy.
Time is very advanced, from blood tests, from. No,
that's when the maid found her, or would that mean that there's something more there potentially?
No, and I'm kind of surprised they even released that information, but the time of death is the time of death. They're going to be able to ascertain that from the examination of the body, from blood tests, from a variety of the state of the body. I mean, the science behind identifying the time of death for a deceased is very advanced, so they can get it pretty close to what the actual time is. So when she was found and when the time of death, that there might be a discrepancy just based upon the information that's kind of flying back and forth, and nothing's been corroborated.
And how does the investigation go where if you found a body in this condition, and we don't know if foul play is involved, but they didn't get back to port until the next day? It was, I think people were told to leave their staterooms around.
I love that he's asking the questions. He's asking all these, y'all, freaking 5-10 minutes ago. These are questions I was asking. See, I told y'all I don't watch this stuff. I save it. We watch it together. We review it together, and we have discussions. This is what I love about this. So now he's answering my questions. See, if I would just like hold back instead of just blurting out everything, I can't help it though.
7 o'clock in the morning on this deck where all of it happened. I think,
Right. The body wasn't
And
even
nothing's
cold
been
to me.
corroborated.
And how does the investigation go where if you found a body in this condition, and we don't know if foul play is involved, but they didn't get back to port until the next day? It was, I think people were told to leave their staterooms around 7 o'clock in the morning on this deck where all of it happened, but they're back in Miami the next day after her body was allegedly found around 11 o'clock in the morning the day prior. How does this investigation play out when you have these logistics like a cruise ship that they're dealing with?
Well, the hardest part.
Okay. I must have misheard something because he just said 7 o'clock in the morning. What is he talking about? That's not, no, that
I
wasn't,
think people were told to leave their staterooms around 7 o'clock in the morning on this deck where all of it.
no, that's wrong. They couldn't have been told to leave their stateroom at 7 o'clock in the morning if she wasn't found until 11 a.m. Sir, no.
Happened, but they're back in Miami the next day after her body was allegedly found around 11 o'clock in the morning the day prior. How does this investigation play out when you have these logistics like a cruise ship that they're dealing with?
Well, the hardest part is you're going to have to freeze the crime scene so nobody goes in there and destroys evidence either intentionally or inadvertently. So the fact that you have 4,000 people on this cruise ship that they also have to worry about, so they have to balance that with the integrity of the crime scene. So the first step would be to freeze the area where she was found. Like I said in the last podcast, that these cruise ship companies have generally retired law enforcement or retired FBI that are in their security apparatus that will give instructions to the ship.
Well, they said that the parents went, or the dad and the stepmom went to breakfast and she didn't come to breakfast, is what they had said, that they had gone to breakfast and she didn't show up, that the night before she felt ill and left dinner and went on back to her room. So what happened after dinner? And why are they listing her time of death at 11:17 the next?
Crew on how to handle that body to keep the integrity of the evidence sound, and then wait for the FBI to get there to do a crime scene analysis and then recover the body and get the body to the medical examiner.
Oh, because that was one question I had, where we don't know if there was blood found on the scene or anything like that. But if there was, and it's not just the body that was found, and hate to speculate, but it's like if it was an overdose and there's.
This is what I'm gathering, because they haven't said that they were in separate rooms yet, but it will be very hard to put 5 people in one room on a cruise ship. I don't know. They said that they found her at 11 a.m. And what he just said a minute ago was that it was at 7 o'clock in the morning. They told him that's not true. They couldn't have told him at 7 o'clock in the morning if it didn't happen till they didn't find her until 11 a.m. Unless they were searching for her when she didn't show up for breakfast. There we see. Found earlier, but she was found at 11 when the maid came in to clean the room. But they gave the time of death at 11:17, and which I don't know if that's probably just when the whoever on board medical people got in there and did their assessment. But yeah, that same day, the same day for. So I'm wondering if they were searching for her. Were they searching for her when she didn't come to breakfast the next morning? And then they find her under the bed, piled with life jackets on her.
Not
and
like that.
And wrapped in a blanket?
But if there was, and it's not just the body that was found and hate to speculate, but it's like if it was an overdose and there's not any sort of evidence surrounding the body suggesting that there was any sort of foul play, like blunt force trauma or anything like that. Can you freeze a crime scene if it's an issue like blood? Is that an issue if you're not able to get on scene for 24 hours or so after a body was found?
Well, freezing the crime scene in this case is just basically locking the door to the stateroom and making sure nobody goes in there, and posting up potentially a crew member to make sure nobody goes in, nobody goes out, and the only people that'll be allowed in there are law enforcement. So that would be the first step. And if there's other people staying in that stateroom, of course they would get moved to another room. And then the second step is basically freezing all the camera footage, freezing all the potential evidence that could disappear or be erased in the time being, but between the time the FBI is notified of this case.
No, I couldn't. But if they were in separate rooms, they wouldn't know that she was missing until she didn't show up for breakfast, right? If they had separate staterooms on the cruise ship, you wouldn't know until she didn't show up for breakfast. So then you'd start questioning, where is she? Why didn't she come? And let's send a search party out for her. This recording that we're watching right now, this Law and Crime on the Case, was before the news about the step-sibling came out. So I'm interested if they're going to get.
And then they actually get there and start gathering all this evidence.
And you, as someone who worked in the FBI, and there's been such public interest in this case, you just often don't see cases like this, especially on cruise ships. But the FBI hasn't said much. They're investigating. That's it. They haven't said whether foul play is involved or not. This has been more than a week that since her body was taken off of the cruise ship on November 8th. What do you make of just the lack of information coming from official sources at this point? Even the family of Anna has said that they really just haven't heard anything from investigators.
And I will stop there. That's very good point. True Crime Butterfly. It was, if she was sick and she went to her room, why didn't they go check on her? Even if she is 18, why didn't they go check on her? If she was feeling bad, at least check in and say, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Being dad, can daddy get you a Sprite or something to make you feel better until the morning? That's a very interesting. It is strange. I would have checked later that night. Exactly, Forrest.
Well, there really isn't much to make of it. The FBI just doesn't discuss ongoing investigations unless there's some sort of political or public safety need to share that information. And secondly, it's always up to the family whether they're going to share information or not. And certainly they're in a deep state of mourning right now. So they're not really worried about what the public wants to know. So it really comes down to just letting the investigation play out. I'm sure the FBI will do a very thorough investigation. And if there were other people involved, then I'm sure they will be brought to justice.
And when it comes to the speculation that we see so much, and in this story, it has been, everything you can think of what people saying they believed happened on board this cruise ship. Now you have an article in the Daily Mail coming out laying things. What is it like on the inside for investigators when suddenly the public starts to get things going? Does that have any impact on the investigation or pressure to give the public something?
Not to the FBI. They'll basically ignore that media attention, especially in a case like this where it's a kind of it appears to be an isolated violent crime. Now, in cases of terrorism, that's a whole different ball game where you have to worry about the impact on the community and making sure that there's no other potential assailants out there that are going to harm people. But in a case of a violent crime where it appears that it was an isolated incident, the FBI has no interest in the media. They're not going to share anything. I would be surprised if they did. And they're just going to basically let their investigation play out. And the pressure, if there is any, would come from the victim's family and not from the media or the public.
And that's the other part of it too. I mean, the victim's family to this point saying that they have not heard a lot of information from the FBI. What's the communication typically like with family members when you're still trying to figure out exactly what happened?
Well, every field office in the FBI has a victim witness coordinator, as well as every U.S. Attorney's office. So generally speaking, that would be the entity that would interact with the victims. And then at some point, maybe the case agents or the U.S. Attorney's office would have a sit down or interaction with the victim's family. But at this point, it's just so early in the investigation, it's unlikely they're going to be able to share any information because they haven't got their arms around all the data that's still flowing in from their crime scene analysis, as well as phones, as well as video, as well as the interviews of the people that were around her, as well as the interviews of the crew members.
And Anna Kepner's celebration of life is slated.
And I'm curious as to, I'm sorry about that. I was muted. I can't remember what I said. I know what I said. No, I know what I said. So this was all recorded before the information came out about the step-sibling. So I do have a video that once this is over with, we'll watch. It's about 8 minutes long about the step-sibling, what they have put out on court TV.
For Thursday this week in Titusville, which is where she lived. And FloridaToday.com says her body has been brought to a funeral home near her hometown. From an investigative standpoint, we still don't know the cause of death. That hasn't been released. What does that mean if the body is no longer with the medical examiner or law enforcement?
Well, that tells me that they completed their investigation of the body, so to speak. The medical examiner has already done their exam, done their analysis, and
I know what I was going to say. So they said that they were going to interview all these people and all this stuff. When does that happen? Does that happen on the ship? Do they take them off the ship? Is there a procedure for that? Again, this goes to me asking my questions out loud. Where do they do that at?
The only thing they may be waiting for is a toxicology report, which takes some time to do the analysis. So it tells me that portion of the investigation has been completed, and now they're moving on to gather information that might actually disappear. Like I said, with video, people's memories, or somebody deleting photos or data off of a phone.
And let's talk about this cruise ship, because it's the term that I've always thought of it as is like a city on water, because you have restaurants, you got bars, you have pool decks, you have everything you can think about, a 15-deck cruise ship, 4,000 passengers on board. How do you go about, for the FBI, you get on board, you're trying to figure out what happened to this young woman, crime or not. How do you go about trying to get in touch with every single person that she may have been in contact with during her time on board a 6-day cruise?
Well, the fact that it is a cruise, that means every single person on there presumably has been identified, especially as the crew members. So they're going to just basically work backwards. They're going to have anybody they do miss or don't get to, they'll be able to identify them and find out where they live and send agents to their homes to do the interviews. So it comes down to basically logic and filtering. People who would be logically around her or interacting with her in the 72 hours prior to her time of death would be who they would focus on, as well as obviously family members and crew members.
What is and I imagine that there are surveillance cameras all over.
Okay. So y'all know me. Me and my pop-up. Let's review. The crimes committed on international waters. The investigation interrogation depends on the ship's flag state in which the country is, which country where the vessel is registered. Also, the flag state typically has jurisdiction, but other countries may have authority, including the home country of the victim or perpetrator, the nation where, or even under its special maritime jurisdiction laws for certain crimes involving citizens. Yeah, I know they have all that. They have medical and jail and all that. So, you know, just questions.
A cruise ship, but
2 hours prior to her, basically logic and filtering people who would be logically around her or interacting with her in the 72 hours prior to her time of death would be who they would focus on, as well as obviously family members and crew members.
what is and I imagine that there are surveillance cameras all over a cruise ship, but for a company like Carnival, where you are, I know they have an operations center in Miami where they follow a lot, and they've said they've invested billions of dollars in security over the last decade. I mean, what type of system are you working with? Like, how high tech is the type of security system and access to those type of materials that you would get as an investigator when you look at a company as big as Carnival?
Well, it depends on what kind of commitment they have to that kind of security. I would presume that they have pretty good cameras on the hallways as well as the decks, because of the number of people there and the fact that they are so far away from law enforcement. They do have to have an ability to kind of monitor behaviors on the ship so it doesn't kind of spiral out of control. So I would presume that it's pretty good. And then the FBI in Miami has a very, very close working relationship with all the cruise ship companies because they are the primary law enforcement agency that would investigate these crimes. So I'm sure that they're going to get very good video, but I don't think they're going to release it to the public. That'll be something they use for their investigation and to further what they need to do to bring justice for this young lady.
For the FBI and being an agency that won't release a lot of information until an investigation is complete, because then I think of in cases where you might have a violent crime, and we don't know if that's what this is, but a local police department might at least confirm that foul play is believed to have been involved. Would you anticipate the FBI until a final autopsy is back, toxicology, and if this is a crime that somebody's charged, like that's when we might learn more information officially from the FBI?
Well, it's also not necessarily up to the FBI. They're interacting with the U.S. Attorney's Office. And once they make a presentation to the U.S. Attorney, then the U.S. Attorney is in control of the investigation as well as all the evidence, and they dictate any information that would be released and not released. So many times the FBI is kind of considered some sort of monolith, but they're just a cog in the process, and they also have to abide by the rules of the Department of Justice as well as the local U.S. Attorney's Office. So to answer your question, I don't anticipate a lot of information coming out about this until they actually, if they do, find who participated or knew what was going on.
Okay. So with that, I'm not going to let him finish talking because I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pivot straight over to this, because now a suspect identified via court filings. So the court documents have explicitly stated that there is a 16-year-old step-sibling is a suspect in the death investigation. I've just did a little back research while we were watching that. And so here we go. And let's see what I think this is Julie Grant. Yes, Dandy. They have all that. They have medical. There is a jail facility. They do have a small morgue facility because there is people that do pass away on cruise ships by natural causes. Not necessarily anything suspicious. I mean, you can be anywhere. You can be in an airplane and pass away. So, cruise ships there's like 4,000 rooms on one of these things. So, it's a floating city. It is. And jokingly, they say it's like a floating city. It is. You have everything you could ever want. They have stores. They have restaurants. Mine had gambling. There was a theater. There was live shows. There was just it was just a whole life out there on the water. It was so amazing. So amazing. Which we still wouldn't know about if the mom hadn't filed that, I'm sure. Right. We wouldn't know had the mom not said anything. You know, all this stuff hadn't come out with her paramour. Okay. Okay. So this is 8.5 minutes. Let's see what Julie Grant's got to say.
Mysterious death of a high school cheerleader on a cruise ship is what's trending in true crime this morning, as her step-sibling may be facing charges. 18-year-old Anna Kepner was reported dead while aboard a Carnival Horizon cruise ship earlier this month. But according to an unrelated court filing, one of her step-siblings could be charged soon. Chantel Hudson, Kepner's stepmother, requested a delay in her custody hearing with her previous husband because of a, quote, extremely sensitive and severe circumstance. The filing goes on to say that Hudson, quote, has been advised through discussions with the FBI investigators and her attorneys that a criminal case may be initiated against one of the minor children.
Geez, Julie, I just read this. I didn't know you were going to read it too, but go ahead, love.
Of this instant action, end quote. So we know that the 18-year-old's travel party included her father, her stepmother, and her step-siblings. But details surrounding Anna's death still haven't been released. The FBI continues leading the investigation, but does Kepner's family know what really happened? Let's ask our investigators about that. Let's bring in private investigator with Black Ops, private investigators Manuel Gomez, and retired NYPD detective and the host of the Rob O'Donnell Show, Rob O'Donnell. Good morning to you both. Does the family have the answers? Rob, would you start off our conversation, please?
Well, based on the stepmother's filing in this unrelated custody case, it appears so. It appears that they know more than they're letting on. It appears that the father, the biological father of this 18-year-old.
What does it say? Who is he? Rob O'Donnell, bio. Host the Rob O'Donnell Show. Worked for the NYPD's Organized Crime Control Bureau and Precinct Detective Squad. Involved in response recovery on September 11th. Okay. Didn't know who he was. I like that, how they pop up and they give you information of who's actually up there speaking, because sometimes they put people up and we're like, who the hell? Where did they come from? So, and that's really cute, Danny, because, you know, the things we think about that we want to do, and then when later we look back and go, skirt, 12-hour days, no, thank you. Nope, couldn't do it.
Seems to be pleading for more information, but obviously in this court filing, it appears that that fingers have been pointed and questions have been asked about at least one of the step-siblings here in this case. So I would say they do know, because why not just ask for a postponement because her stepdaughter was just found dead on a cruise ship? Why this extra information in this unrelated court proceeding?
Ooh, that's a good point, Rob. Thank you. Manuel, your thoughts on the family and what they may know, please.
I think that there's a lot of secrets that are unfortunately of sensitive nature in this case regarding the family.
I was hoping they'd pop up and tell us who this guy is. This is Manuel Gomez. He served in the United States military as an Army intelligence officer during Desert Storm. And how many of you out there remember Desert Storm? I remember exactly where I was when it was announced that we were going to war. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that word, but I do remember where I was. I was babysitting and I saw it come on TV. And what did I do? I called my mom. I was young. I called my mom. I was so scared. Founder and lead investigator of Black Ops Private Investigators. I work hands-on roughly 20 hours a week. Less is better. Exactly. You remember where you were? Do you? You know, some of these people are youngins around us, Cindy, though, so they might not remember even what Desert Storm was. I'm just kidding, guys. We have to find the humor in some of this. We have to talk and joke around and have conversations, because otherwise it gets too heavy for me. So this is why we talk, because it gets too heavy. I want to know. I want to learn. I need the information. I want the facts, but we have to stop and chat about it every once in a while because it gets too heavy. So therefore, we read a bio.
In what's going on with the siblings, and they're being very covert about releasing that information. But the one thing that, you know, really disturbs me about this case is the fact that they didn't look into the evidence even further down.
Y'all, give me just a minute. I forgot I had groceries coming. I need to see if my groceries are here. I think my groceries are here. I'm gonna have to send my son out there. Oh, goodness gracious. It's been delivered. I'm going to hit play on this, and I need to get my stepson to go out there and get the groceries. I will be right back.
When this girl was on the ship, there's a lot of evidence out there that's still out there.
Right, Manuel. I have a statement from the Carnival Cruise Line on Anna Kepner's death. The statement says, Carnival Cruise Line is fully cooperating with the Miami office of the FBI. It is up to the FBI's Miami Public Affairs Office to provide further details. Our focus is on supporting the family of our guest, end quote. So let's talk a little bit now about how Anna's body was found. So the Daily Mail and CBS News are both reporting that the 18-year-old was stuffed underneath a bed in the cabin where she was staying with her family. The Daily Mail reporting that Anna was found dead, wrapped up in a blanket. Anonymous sources telling the Daily Mail that Kepner was covered up by life jackets. Kepner's father, Christopher, made this statement soon after his teenage daughter was found dead, saying, quote, everybody was questioned. Everybody came off that ship. I don't know who they are looking at.
Okay. Actually, no, they haven't named her cause of death yet. They haven't named it yet. Cindy. Whew. Sorry, Walmart's here with my groceries, so stepson's out there getting them. Yeah, no, they haven't said yet. They just said that she was found wrapped in a blanket under the bed with life jackets on top of her. They've not stated if there was any fluids found around her, any injuries to her body. They've stated nothing of the sort. And toxicology results have not come back yet, so we don't know if there was any rugs involved. I'm going to back it up just a second because y'all know I had to get up for a second.
The Bell and CBS News are both reporting that the 18-year-old was stuffed underneath a bed in the cabin where she was staying with her family. The Daily Mail reporting that Anna was found dead, wrapped up in a blanket. Anonymous sources telling the Daily Mail that Kepner was covered up by life jackets. Kepner's father, Christopher, made this statement soon after his teenage daughter was found dead, saying, quote, everybody was questioned. Everybody came off that ship. I don't know who they are looking at or what their investigation is. The FBI hasn't shared anything with me yet. I would imagine they're going to be in contact with me about it, but I know as little as everybody else. I have no idea what is going on right now. We're just trying to.
Yeah, we've already reviewed those. The papers talking about the hearing that was going to happen, and that, yeah, we've already went over those. So it's yeah. I was going back to another question. Okay, here it was, Dandy's question. I need to rewatch this. How F stuffed her under bed? We don't know. We know that there was other siblings with her in the stateroom. They have not stated whether they were in separate rooms from the parents. So we don't know if they were in two separate rooms or there was one room. But she was sick the night before at dinner and went to her room. And then she wasn't located until the next morning at around 11 when the maid came in. So what happened between her getting sick at dinner until the maid coming in at 11 in the morning? That's the big question. What happened during that time?
Sit still and wait for answers. So it makes us wonder here at Court TV, does it sound like there was foul play here with Anna Kepner's death? Manuel Gomez, would you start us off, please, with your thoughts?
Well, I have to tell you, Julie, on the last court interview that I did on Court TV regarding this case, I received numerous phone calls, and I actually got a very big tip on this case. One of the cruise passengers was telling me that Anna was at the theater, and she was with this young guy, which fits the description of the stepbrother. Okay, and
okay, wait, what? I'm sorry. I went to read something from a family member of Anna Kepner, and that totally what?
And I actually got a very big tip on this case. One of the cruise passengers was telling me that Anna was at the theater and she was with this young guy, which fits the description of the stepbrother. Okay. And they were arguing intensely.
The theater. See, this is what I'm saying. There's theaters on there. So arguing with the step sibling at the theater and people seeing this. You know, who knows? We don't, that's why we're waiting for toxicology.
Okay. And then the fact that her body was jammed under the bed, hidden, it tells me that the person that did this, one, was young. This wasn't like a regular murder. I think this was a crime of passion. And I think what happened was, and I hate to say this, but it seems like possibly that the brother had physical intentions towards the sister, and it didn't plan out. She said no, and he most likely wind up doing it.
Oh, sir. Who, you went down a whole speculation. Oh, this is allegedly speculating. This is your type of shit. I can't do that. He just went totally off the rails speculating. I don't even know what to say now. He's talking about what? Whew. Okay. Whew. Whew. See, I don't do that stuff well. I don't do the guesstimation stuff very well. So this is hard for me, guys. Okay, we're going to rewind that and let him say that one more time because, whoa, I need off that crazy train. Yes, he did, Cindy. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, hold up a minute. This just went. I'm confused. I'm confused. You just went totally off the rails with me. Okay. Yeah. He did. He did, Dandy. Whew. And y'all know me. I love Jess and allegedly speculating, but that's her category for speculating. I cannot. Whew, that was total speculation out there that just blew me away. We're gonna rewind that and we're gonna let him say that again. And Hio is back in here and she is on her way home. And I'm in her ear. Whispering in your ear. Okay. Oh, we're gonna rewind that and we're gonna let that play again because
That's the fact, brother. One of the cruise passengers was telling.
Okay, we're gonna rewind it enough to where he talks about going to the theater. Whew, okay.
Well, I have to tell you, Julie, on the last court interview that I did on Court TV regarding this case, I received numerous phone calls, and I actually got a very big tip on this case. One of the cruise passengers was telling me that Anna was at the theater, and she was with this young guy, which fits the description of the stepbrother. Okay, and they were arguing intensely. Okay, and then the fact that her body was jammed under the bed, hidden, it tells me that the person that did this, one, was young. This wasn't like a regular murder. I think this was a crime of passion. And I think what happened was, and I hate to say this, but it seems like possibly that the brother had physical intentions towards the sister, and it didn't plan out. She said no, and he most likely wind up doing this. That's my suspicion in this case, due to the evidence and phone calls that I received from passengers on the cruise ship after doing the Court TV episode.
Allegedly, in his opinion, let me throw that out there. This is allegedly in his opinion. Right. Not so terrible if a passenger said they were arguing, but man, to go way out. I mean, okay.
Wow, that's really something, Manuel.
Even Julie Grant's like, whoa, that's a Well, she didn't go into any sexual stuff. I mean, he made it sound like that the stepbrother wanted to do things with this poor little Anna. Whew. Okay. Whew.
Thank you for sharing that. Of course, if we at Court TV are able to confirm any of that independently, we certainly will. But you know,
Julie Grant covered her ass. If we can confirm that, we don't know that for fact. Good job, Julie Grant. Good job. Whew. Yes, thank you, Cindy, for that. His opinions do not reflect the opinions of this channel. You are free to do your own research. Figure it out. We're just talking. We're learning the case as we go.
that's a theory, a theory, certainly. Rob, I would ask you the same question. Does this sound like foul play to you, even though we don't know Anna's cause of death just yet? It hasn't been released.
Well, there's absolutely foul play in the disposal, or at least the hiding of the body. Just the way the body was found, there's obviously someone else involved here that was there either during or after the death. When I talked about this case on my show yesterday, I says, unfortunately, although the family's going through their own trauma here, they need to be ruled out, and they're going to be looked at first to be ruled out. And it appears the FBI is in that direction. Two of the theories that I came with, based on her age and out on a cruise ship, was there some sort of, and I'm looking to see the full autopsy here with the toxicology and stuff like that. Was she out hanging out with someone and maybe overdosed on drugs, and that person panicked and just hid the body and took off and wanted to distance themselves from it? Or in this case, a step sibling. You have to realize in a case like this, we know now that there's an ongoing custody battle with the biological father. There is a divorce play here. There's step parents, step siblings. The hierarchy of this family is being disrupted. If you look at the picture, even though they're juveniles and their faces are blurred out, you could tell they're mid to upper teens, these two boys that are in the picture. Was there a challenge to his status in the family? Did he feel threatened by this new step family that he's now part of and have this confrontation? I believe we're going to find out. These are not hardened criminals here, and I think, based on the statements that the stepmothers already had, more of this is going to.
Oh, y'all. I just sitting here looking in the background. I'm not going to put this document out there, but I will let y'all know that there is new details of the father of Anna. Her father, Christopher Kepner, has some violence charges from 2008 because he had an affair with a 15-year-old babysitter. And there are court documents out there, and they were before all that took place, before his marriage to Chantel. And the documents are out there. I will not put them on my screen because they do have names on them and stuff. So, yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting. Also, that there is a post from her aunt that states, I'm just going to say this so I do not have to keep repeating it. Yes, Anna Kepner is my niece. She was my niece. Yes, she was found deceased on a Carnival cruise ship on the 7th. The only thing I know is that she was with her dad on a cruise. Anything after that, your guess is as good as mine. No, I'm not reading any of the online news reports. I'll find out from her dad what the cause of her death was once he knows. All I can say is, Anna Marie Kepner, sweetheart, you are a beacon of light taken too soon. Your unexpected passing has left a huge void in the hearts of many. You will forever be remembered as a beautiful, bright, thoughtful, kind, bubbly, energetic, sweet girl. I hope Grandma and Grandpa were there to greet you at the gates. Rest easy, sweet one. Oh, it does. It does. That's the same thing that Grandma wrote. Yeah, that was the aunt that I was just reading. Okay, let's hit play again.
Come to fruition. And I wouldn't be surprised if any defense attorney says, based on the trauma that this child's going through, based on a divorce and this new step family, something happened there mentally that he had a breakdown. And I guess we'll see as we move forward here.
An interesting concept. So the step sibling is dealing with the divorce of the parents and whatever the custody issue may arise. So he may have some of his own emotional issues, as we may say. Let's rewind what he just said.
Status in the family? Did he feel threatened by this new step family that he's now part of, and have this confrontation? I believe we're going to find out. You know, these are not hardened criminals here, and I think based on the statements that the stepmother's already had, more of this is going to come to fruition. And I wouldn't be surprised if any defense attorney says, you know, based on the trauma that this child's going through, based on a divorce and this new step family, you know, something happened there mentally that he had a breakdown. And I guess we'll see as we move forward here.
Yeah, all good points, Rob. Thanks. Manuel, if you could interview anybody in this family, who would be the first person you would want to talk to?
The first person would be the oldest stepson. Again, like I said, he was the one that I've been giving indications about having problems with the sister on the boat. He'd be the first one I lean on. The second one would be the younger one. And again, those hallway camera footage, I would definitely zoom in on that. I know they can't tell you about when she opened the door or not, but then the third thing I would look into is what was the condition of her body? Yes, granted, Julie, she was wrapped up in a blanket, jammed up underneath the bed. That's like my colleague said, it's foul play. I said it from the beginning, this is a homicide, okay? And then it's shoved under with a life vest. But the bottom line is, was she clothed or unclothed? And I have a funny feeling that girl was
Oh shit. Wrong button, Sheila. Wrong button. I was just fixing to... All right. Okay. Did I delete Grandma's post? Okay. So this is the post that her uncle did that's causing great controversy. Martin Donahue, I need everyone's help on this. If you haven't heard this story and you've been living under a rock, this is my niece, Anna Kepner. She was 18 and was on a cruise with her dad, stepmom, and other family members. I cannot stay silent about this matter any longer. The stepmom's son killed her, stuffed her naked, beaten body in a sheet, and stuffed her under the bed and covered her with life jackets, then slept on that bed like nothing happened. He told his stepmom when no one could find Anna on the ship. So yes, they know who did it, and it sickens me that the father, Chris, remains silent about this. Please pass this on till maybe it gets to someone that can do something about it. If nothing is done, it will all come out on the 20th. At least that's what the stepmom has said. After treating family, if they talk before that, they will be banned for the remembrance of life for Anna. Please pass this so my family can get closure and the people who did this and lied and still to tell the rest of us what happened when it did. Now you just all look guilty of a cover-up. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Stepson was wanting to let Lola out because she was crying. So, sorry. Okay, so now that we've read that and got... Yeah, this is information that we were, this is more information that than we knew. So evidently, in the post, he accuses the victim's stepbrother of murdering her, asserting she was beaten, killed, and hidden under a bed, wrapped in a sheet and partially covered with life jackets. He further alleges the stepbrother then slept in the bed as though nothing happened. Donahue expressed outrage in his post, claiming he is sickened by the alleged silence of Kepner's father regarding her death. This time, none of the allegations made on social media have been substantiated by law enforcement or confirmed by official sources. Given the seriousness of the claims, legal experts note that if no arrest has been made and the allegations are false, such statements be considered highly defamatory. My beautiful baby girl was found dead on Friday. I just found out last night. Her dad and stepmom didn't even try to contact me, so I'm going to give that to God and let him sort it out along with whoever did this to my baby girl. Anna Marie, I miss you so much. You have no idea how shattered I am over this. Please forgive me for not being there. I'm so sorry. This development appears to align with earlier information circulating about the case. The message shown was posted by Anna Kepner's biological mother, Tabitha Kepner, and originates from her TikTok account. Post expresses deep grief and frustration with Tabitha stating she only learned of her daughter's death days after it occurred. In her message, she shares heartbreak over not being contacted by Anna's father or stepmother and expresses sorrow, love, and regret for not being present. Emotional nature of the post highlights the pain the family has experienced and adds another layer to the ongoing situation surrounding Anna's death. At this time, the message remains a personal statement from a grieving parent and has not been referenced or confirmed by investigators. Investigators have not confirmed whether anyone related to the family is a suspect. Well, we know that's been changed. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's back this up just a little bit. Yeah. If for the father or stepmother to not notify the biological mother, that's extremely suspect. See, the more I've looked into it, the more information we've gotten and the more questions I have.
He said it's foul play. I said it from the beginning, this is a homicide, okay? And then it's shoved under with a life vest. But the bottom line is, was she clothed or unclothed? And I have a funny feeling that that girl was unclothed. I have a funny feeling that that brother did something.
And Manuel, I appreciate the theory.
So see, now theorizing and looking more into it and speculating, as I don't like to do, speculating, we're learning more and more, reading into other things, reading other things that family members have put out. And you know,
Look, you and Rob, you guys have seen everything, and both you served with the NYPD too. There's another, a thing you both have in common. Again, a theory. We have not independently confirmed anything relating to the stepbrother, but it's certainly a possibility, and we'll keep following this case and report any information, especially cause of death, as soon as that is learned, and any more information the FBI is willing to release.
Huh. Okay. So, with that, we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot. So, anybody have anything they want to add to that? Because we're going to just leave it right there until I can get more information on this, because this is very fluid. It's coming out just as we speak, because that was me looking in the background, finding more information. So yeah, that's interesting. And as the information comes out, we'll add it to our stream. We'll do like a check-in one day. Maybe we'll do an update tomorrow. I'll check in. Hey, Kara, sorry, I'm a little all over the place. Our name, you know why? I think because I'm not a monetized channel, that I don't know. It's just really weird, because on this channel it does this. Now, if I go to my monetized channel, it does the @ names. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, we're all normal over here. We have normal names. Okay, so if we're going to follow this, I'm very interested. I will follow this. So if y'all want to keep up with that, please stay subbed and keep your notifications on. Meet is over here. He's very antsy, but we're going to move on. We're going to move on to some cold cases of arrests that have happened. There was a 1991 disappearance and murder of a 25-year-old Cynthia Gonzalez of Arlington, Texas. It remained a cold case for over 3 decades. 3 decades. There was a recent breakthrough that led to the arrest of a suspect in November of 2025. It was a partnership between Arlington Police Department and some criminology students at the University of Texas, Arlington. Cynthia was an adult entertainer. She was reported missing in September 1991 after leaving to meet a client. Her vehicle was found abandoned, and her body, which had been shot multiple times, was discovered in Johnson County days later. Investigators in the 1990s identified Janie Perkins as a suspect, but there wasn't enough evidence to file charges at the time. Investigation revealed that both women were involved with the same man, and Perkins allegedly had made statements indicating animosity towards Gonzalez. So in 2025, the University of Texas Arlington criminology students reviewed cold case files. When they reviewed the cold case files, it prompted detectives to re-examine the Gonzalez case. It unearthed new witness statements from the original investigations where Perkins reportedly admitted her involvement and provided details consistent with the crime scene. As a result, capital murder warrant was issued for Janine Perkins, who is 63 years old. She was arrested in Azale, Texas, and she is released on bond. But we are going to, we're going to share this tab. We're going to add that to the stage, and we'll read through this in a minute. September 17, 1991, Cynthia Gonzalez was reported missing from Arlington. Her body was found 5 days later in a rural area of Johnson County. She had been shot multiple times and was decomposing. So it's been a 34-year-old cold case. 63-year-old Janine Perkins was arrested and charged. Gonzalez and Perkins had been friends who frequently spent time together, but both became romantically involved with the same man several weeks before Gonzalez's murder. And police says that the man told Perkins that he was breaking things off with her to be with Gonzalez. So, let's see. We're going to rewind this, and we're going to listen to the story.
Break that detectives and a family have waited for decades now. Today, Arlington police announcing an arrest in a murder case that's been ongoing since 1991. Dawn White tells us who, beyond police, helped to crack this cold case.
This is my mom and me when I was little.
Pictures captured decades ago are the only way Jessica Roberts can see her mother, Cynthia Gonzalez.
This is a picture that came from the very last family portrait session we had before she was murdered.
September 17th, 1991. That's the day Gonzalez's ex-husband reported her missing. The 25-year-old's car was found hours later on Cedar Springs Terrace in Arlington. A property owner discovered Gonzalez's body 5 days later off County Road 313 in rural Johnson County.
It happened when I was 6.
And more than 34 years later.
I was very shocked. I thought this day would never come.
Can you imagine 34 years later and getting the answers to who took your mother's life? And to know that it was somebody who was initially suspected and involved with the same man?
I'd almost given up.
Arlington Police Chief Al Jones announced an arrest in Gonzalez's murder.
Homicide detectives obtained arrest warrant.
This lady is 63 years old. 63 years old. 34 years later. So that means she was what? 18, 19 at the time? Probably never in her wildest dream thought she would get caught.
For 63-year-old Jenny Perkins on one count of capital murder.
Chief Jones believes the murder stemmed from a love triangle.
Detectives of the 90s looked at her because they learned that she and Miss Gonzalez had shared a love interest. Prior to the murder, the love interest told Miss Perkins he was calling things off with her to be with Miss Gonzalez.
Arlington police don't have a cold case unit, but UTA Arlington criminal justice professor Patricia Eddings had an idea.
I kept hearing him say, not enough time. I'm like, to go through the files is what he was saying. And I'm like, I've got these brilliant students that have time.
The university started a partnership with the police this fall to allow criminal justice students to get real life experience investigating cold cases.
I think this is, and now a fabulous idea to have these college students that are interested in criminology to look into these cold cases. Hio's doing my math. 63 minus 33. Thank you, Hio. I don't do math. I don't do time zones. I don't. Your cousin was rumored back in 94. LA told you to drop it because cartel was involved. Well, law enforcement probably had a little more insight into it, even though it was 94, and knew that it was not going to be wise. Hio, I love you. I appreciate you math checking me. But I again, back to what I was saying, squirrel moment. Hold up. Y'all know we got a squirrel moment, so we have to play squirrels. Give me a second. Thank you, Hio, for correcting my math. Correct the Hio. There we go. We have a encyclo Ramada, and we have a correct the Hio. Okay, anyways, squirrel. I just think it's really great that these dogs, oh, they make me tired. I thought I was going to have a whole few hours just sit here and enjoy myself without the dogs going crazy. But anyways, the fact that they're allowing the criminology students at the university here in Arlington, not here in Arlington, but at Arlington, to look into these cold cases, I find it totally fabulous. I have one more cold case. We're going to finish listening to this, and there's another little video we might watch on this, and then I have another cold case that I want to go over.
I kept hearing him say, not enough time. I'm like, to go through the files is what he was saying. And I'm like, I've got these brilliant students that have time.
The university started a partnership with the police this fall to allow criminal justice students to get real life experience investigating cold cases. That's the moment students learned their work led to Perkins' arrest.
It was emotional.
JC Concannon is one of the 15 students who dedicated her time to solve the case.
I would say we spent at least over 100 hours. I mean, we were there 2, 3, 4 hours before the class even started, and then we stayed 2 to 3 hours after.
Roberts remains grateful to this group of students who helped the family find some closure.
So thank you so much.
In Arlington, Dawn White.
You know, the fact that these students took their extra time that didn't have to be taken and took the time to dive into this is absolutely amazing. I love that these students brought justice here. I do too. That is, and I can only hope that more cold cases will be solved with this. I'm a true believer in the cold cases being solved, and the DNA and the technology that has come so far that I'm completely enamored by it. Okay, we're gonna switch tabs and we're gonna play. Let me see if I can get this one to play. Hold up. Okay, computer, catch up. Okay, We're going to let this play through the commercial, and then we'll watch the, I think this actually tells us what had happened. This is a news article, therefore that's why the commercials, I have premium. We don't do this. Drive time. Okay.
They have waited for decades now. Today, Arlington police announcing an arrest in a murder case that's been ongoing since 1991. Dawn White tells us who, beyond police, helped to crack this cold case.
This is
this is the one we just watched. Okay, never mind. We just watched this. Sorry. I thought there was another. No, that was it. Okay. So with that one, there is another cold case that I want to go over. So with that, we're going to follow that, the Cynthia Gonzalez. We're going to follow Miss Perkins, and we'll see where that one goes. Until we can find more information, yeah, we're just going to put that one on the back burner, and we're going to hold on to it. Kara says, I'm still holding out hope with all this Ancestry, 23andMe, etc. People are willing to give their DNA to Curtis, and I think it's a call. I'm brain farting, but people Smith. Yes. And I did the 23andMe, put it out there. I checked that little box for, you know what, if I got criminals in my background, take them, find them. I ain't got no problem with that. Hey, Journey, good to see you, girl. I haven't seen you in a few days. So this is one that Denise brought me. This is a cold case. Akrian Evans was a 26-year-old Nampa, Idaho man who was murdered in his home in 2015. In June 2025, police arrested Mark Adrian Neal, 54, and charged him with first-degree murder in connection with the death, a decade-old cold case. The incident, Akrian Evans was found shot to death in his fifth-wheel trailer on the 4100 block of Garrity Boulevard on March 14, 2025. The day of his murder was his daughter's 9th birthday. The motive, according to reports, Evan received a call from a man interested in buying wooden pallets he sold for scrap lumber, and he returned home to meet him that evening. Nampa Police Department released a composite sketch of a potential suspect dubbed the Pallet Guy shortly after the incident. The case remained a cold case for decades despite ongoing investigations and a reward offered by Evans' father, Richard Evans. The breakthrough in the case came in June 2025 due to advances in DNA and ballistic testing, which provided new evidence linking a suspect to the crime scene. Mark Adrian Neal, who was already in custody at the Canyon County Jail on unrelated charges, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Excuse me. So, this was a post from March 14, 2025. So somebody out there must be feeling guilty about holding in knowledge about the murder of Akrian Evans, 26, a father of 2 young girls. Was the pallet phone call a ploy to throw Akrian off guard when the killers showed at his RV? Remember, even if you didn't pull the trigger, you're still an accessory to murder. Save yourself a prison sentence and make that call. It's about 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, March 14, 2025. Nampa police officers are called to the 100 block of Garrity Boulevard. The property is dark and shadowy. An RV parked behind a nondescript yellow house that sits some distance from the street in the RV. In the RV, they find a man shot to death, a man they later identify as 26-year-old Akrian Evans. Earlier, Akrian and his family had celebrated his daughter's birthday. About 8 o'clock that night, my son got a phone call saying someone wanted to meet him to buy some pallets. His father, Richard Evans, remembers. Hours later, the family gets another call, this one from the police, saying their son had been found, shot to death. Richard Evans is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his son's murder. And this is pictures of the young man. So, we're going to watch a short video.
Police found 26-year-old Akrian Evans shot to death in his Nampa home. His father, Richard, says Akrian was a devoted family man, a hard worker, and a professional plumber.
Whenever he was at a customer's house, he always left as a friend instead of just a customer. He'd give you the shirt.
And this recording is previous of the current arrest.
Off his back, and he'd do anything for a person.
But Evans also had a substance abuse problem.
Akrian surrounded himself by a lot of good people, but also a lot of people were, I guess, shall we say, on the other side of the tracks.
Paul Freeman says that's what's making the investigation a challenge. Those who know something about the murder but aren't sane. Police say they conducted hundreds of interviews.
This investigation is huge, and it's vast, and it's large, and it's not going to be on the shoulders of one person.
And investigators also have theories about a motive.
An enemy, jealousy, anger, robbery, maybe a combination.
Evans sold used pallets to people, and police say this man, who they've nicknamed Pallet Guy, called Evans on.
Y'all see this picture? Wait till they show the face of the man arrested. I don't think they'll do it on this one. We'll have to keep watching because I think it's on another
the
one.
night he was killed, saying he was interested in buying pallets. They say he's probably the last person to see Evans alive.
Personally, I believe there was more than one
Possibly.
involved in regards to the way it was set up and the way it went down.
But detectives are saying little else, citing an ongoing investigation, an investigation everyone is calling frustrating. And for Akrian's father, no closure.
I'm offering a $100,000 reward. It's through a secured bond, and it's payable on the day of conviction. And with that, I hope that it will entice the people to come forward and help us get this person off the street.
I believe strongly it is a case that can be solved with the right information coming forward.
Malia Kamal, Fox 9 Now.
So, this was an article from October 20th, 2017. This was a 10-year anniversary.
Tomorrow also marked 6 years since someone shot and killed a Nampa man inside of his home. Tonight, Akrian Evans' father, Richard, is making one last plea and hopes someone will come forward with answers.
This is also
and who is
this is also prior to the recent arrest
behind his son's death.
My granddaughters are asking, why did this happen? And who did it?
It's been 6 years since Richard Evans last saw his son Akrian.
Yeah, it hurts. He's a good, loving man. He loved sports. He loved getting out and adventurous.
On March 14th, 2015, police say someone shot and killed the 26-year-old father of two inside his home. His murder remains unsolved to this day.
We don't hear anything about it until my daughter calls me saying that he was dead.
For Richard, the years since he received that phone call hasn't diminished the pain. You can see the emotion he's still dealing with. The deadly shooting happening on Akrian's daughter's 9th birthday.
We're trying to get on with some of our lives, but we still need answers.
Now the family hoping someone knows something and will come forward.
I miss his son, so that's what that photo says to me. And he's looking at me going, yes, Dad.
And Richards asks if anyone knows anything. He asks that you call police.
And lo and behold, look at the man they arrested. He I mean, the image of the man arrested is so familiar. So the Nampa police just made an arrest in the 2015 killing. He was interviewed a decade ago. I will read it to you. Weeks after Akrian Evans was shot to death in 2015, investigators zeroed in on a person of interest, dubbed Pallet Guy, and released a sketch of a middle-aged man law enforcement believed was seen at the Nampa resident home just before he was killed. Despite several leads, no one was arrested for more than a decade. Then June 10th, the Nampa Police Department announced that a suspect was in custody, 54-year-old Mark Neal. Court records obtained by the Idaho statement show that officers interviewed Neal within days of the composite sketch release 10 years ago. It is unclear whether Neal was considered a suspect or was just one of the nearly 100 people law enforcement talked to in the weeks and years after the shooting. Carmen Boger, a police spokesperson, said in a news release that the arrest was a result of investigators' tireless work along with advancements in DNA and ballistic testing. The Nampa Police Department declined to answer several additional questions about the investigation, including one asking when Neal was considered a suspect. Investigators don't want to compromise the ongoing investigation, so we won't be releasing any additional information, Boger wrote to the Statesman on Thursday. An officer responded to Evans' home just before 9:30 on March 14, 2015, after receiving a call about a man bleeding from his head in his fifth-wheel trailer behind Garrity Boulevard. According to probable cause affidavit, 5 minutes later, officers found the 26-year-old dead with gunshot wound. Earlier that day, Evans' family was celebrating his daughter's 9th birthday. Then about 8 p.m., he got a call from someone saying they wanted to meet him to buy some wooden pallets. His father, Richard Evans, told the Idaho News. His family got a call hours later from law enforcement saying he'd been shot. When he was at a customer's house, he always left as their friend instead of them just being another customer, his father said at the time. He'd do anything for a person. He'd give you the shirt off his back. Neal denies killing Evans in police interview affidavit details. It was only 4 days after the shooting when law enforcement began asking for the public's help finding the culprit. Nampa Police Department initially released a description of a white man they believed to be in their 30s and 40s with long, dark and wiry hair, a scruffy face, and who might have been interested in purchasing wooden pallets. 2 weeks later, police publicized a composite sketch of the suspect. So this is the article. April 7, 2015, 3 weeks after the homicide, Neal and his then-girlfriend were brought into the Nampa Police Department for interviews, according to the affidavit. After phone records showed Neal called Evans on his cell phone the days before the homicide. 2 women at Evans' trailer the night he was killed went to a convenience store around 9:07, and they told officers they had to drive around the pallet guy's truck after a man came by asking to buy wooden pallets. When they arrived at the store, they tried calling Evans several times for the PIN number on his debit card, but he didn't answer, and the affidavit said. Less than 20 minutes later, the guy's truck was gone, and they found Evans bleeding from his head. Neal admitted to buying pallets from Evans, according to the affidavit, but he told officers that he didn't remember exactly when he bought them that evening. Despite Neal telling police that he picked up the pallets before it got dark, cell tower records pulled by one of the initial investigators indicate he wasn't in the area of Evans' house until later. He said in 2015 that he had no reason to kill Akrian, and he did not even know him. Nampa Police Detective Stephen Emmett wrote in the affidavit. So, new ballistic testing confirmed Neal's gun was used. Officers also searched Neal's Nampa home in 2015, where they located miscellaneous drug paraphernalia and, more notably, a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson. According to the affidavit, Neal and his girlfriend had denied owning a gun. Years later, when Ament took over the case, he researched out to the Idaho State Police Forensic Services to see whether there was any new technology to compare the firearm found in Neal's house to the bullets retrieved from Evans' head. Investigators initially were not able to run ballistic testing because the firearm was damaged. The gun and projectile were sent to the state lab in December 2023. The affidavit 2 months later, microscopic testing of the bullet confirmed that it was fired from the handgun found at Neal's home. Ament then set off a camouflage hat, which law enforcement believe Evans was wearing before he was killed, to Pure Gold Forensics, a laboratory in Redlands, California, to be tested for DNA. It's unclear whether law enforcement was aware of the DNA on the hat until recently. Police declined to answer the question, seeking clarity. Testing showed 4 individuals' DNA samples were found on the hat, including Neal's. So Neal's was sentenced to 13 years on unrelated convictions. So the latest murder arrest wasn't Neal's first run-in with the law. In fact, he was expected to spend at least the next 3 years in prison after recent felony convictions. His extensive criminal history dates back to the 90s. He's also had over half a dozen convictions in Hawaii and Canyon counties after the homicide. Most recent felony charges: possession of controlled substance, unlawful possession of firearm, and persistent violator enhancements. Came in 2025 when Nampa Police Department arrested Neal after he violated his parole. During that January 13th arrest, he was interviewed about Evans' homicide. According to the affidavits, unclear whether an investigator matched Neal's DNA to the ball cap, but his sample was sent to Pure Gold Forensics sometime after early January. Neal was held on a $250,000 bond until he pleaded guilty to unlawful possession of firearm and persistent violator enhancements as part of a plea deal in April. He was sentenced 13 years with the possibility of parole in 3. Before he could be transferred to the Idaho Department of Corrections, however, Neal was arrested in Evans' killing. They charged Neal with first-degree murder on June 10th, alleging he had willfully and unlawfully killed Evans by shooting him in the head. Neal could face up to life in prison or even death penalty if convicted. Have 60 days to announce. Okay. So with that, I do know that, let me just double check. Sitting in a preliminary hearing. Okay. So they had a hearing today. So hopefully we'll be able to follow this with Denise's help. Again, it's uncanny, the resemblance between these two men. So whoever put together this sketch obviously knew what they saw. And being that there was also rugs involved in the situation at hand, it kind of makes you stop and think, like Journey had said, are you sure it was pallets they were buying? I mean, things were different back in the 90s. So, what they did to make money is what they did. So I don't know. So these are a few cases we're going to follow. Today was a little different stream than y'all normally see me do trials and stuff. There is a small trial that I would like to, it was like a 3-day trial of I believe it was a stepson or adopted son took his parents, I'm not sure. I need to look into it, but it was like a 3-day trial, and I'm thinking about running it on the Crime Time with Sheila. So if you are not subbed up to Crime Time with Sheila, please do so. I would appreciate that. I will do lives on that one, and we're going to get back into that channel also. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over these 3. So we had Anna Kepner, which was the cruise ship. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Was the cruise ship, and we were going to keep up with that one. I want to do some more research on that one. When more information comes out, we'll add that to our stream. And with the kid from Ukraine. What you talking about, Journey? Hit a link. Come up, Journey. You're more than welcome. It's pinned. Kid from Ukraine. I don't know what you're talking about. And then also we talked about Cynthia Gonzalez. 63-year-old Miss Perkins was arrested. I want to follow that and see if she takes, plea deal, if she takes, if they have any hearings or anything. So I'm kind of got that one in the background to keep up with Ms. Perkins' arrest. And now we have Mr. Mark Neal. We're going to try and keep up with this one too. You subbed to the other channel. Well, thank you so much. Let me, you know what? Let me pull it up and just drop it in chat, just because I did remove the rubber Ramada off of whoa, that's not even me. Hold up. Switch account. I did take the rubber Ramada off of it because I'm thinking we're gonna just kind of drop rubber Ramada stuff will be on this one. Oh, okay. The kid from, okay. So that's what it was. Okay. Adopted son. Okay. Okay. See, I haven't researched that one. I don't know a lot about it. I just saw that it was a short trial and thought maybe I would go ahead and cover it on Crime Time channel. So there is Crime Time Sheila. And yes, please make sure you're subbed up. And I'm going to probably come back in a few hours. I need to see if Hio's going to stream. Oh, look, we have company. We have company. Hey, Journey.
Can you hear me?
I sure can, loud and clear.
Oh, okay then, because I don't have my earpiece. I'm just talking through my phone. I'm in my van.
You're in your, are you traveling?
No, I'm getting, I was just shopping at Walmart, but I'm getting my van ready for my travels.
Awesome. You go, girl. You
Yeah.
go, girl. Yeah. So I seen that there was that trial. I see you said Ukraine. I didn't realize, I forgot that's he was from Ukraine. But yeah, I want to throw that together. Not throw it together, but just do kind of like a short review of that one. But I'm gonna do it on the Crime Time channel.
Oh, you're just gonna love the part when he gets on the stand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it because y'all know me and my reactions, me and my big mouth. So I decided I was gonna save that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say no more, but you'll love that part when you come to it. Yeah.
I'm excited. So I'm thinking about maybe this evening, later on tonight. It'll be a late night stream. But we'll probably do day one and just kind of review some of that and see what we come up with. Yeah, and I'm with Cindy here. She says, less confusing me with only one rubber Ramada. Yeah, so we're just going to leave this rubber Ramada. The other is Crime Time with Sheila, and we're going to roll with that now that we got everything figured out. And I can go back to using my little stickers and all the fun stuff that we have on the Crime Time channel. So
What happened to your channel?
it was just when I received the channel, it took a lot to get through to be able to get the monetization changed from the UK to the United States.
Yeah,
So
I told you that. I said that's going to be some work, but you
I
might be
know.
able to do it. I said it might be work. I don't know.
I did. It took me 4 months with the help of Hio. It took me and her 4 months to get it transferred over and fixed. So we do have that fixed. And now that it is fixed, I want to start going live back on that channel. So
So it's officially yours now.
it is officially mine. It is officially
Yeah, your
all
bank
mine.
account and everything. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because, you know, getting a channel from abroad, you know, is different to one in the United States, you know? Because they have different rules. YouTube has different rules in each country and blah, blah, blah.
Yes, it was a huge lesson learned. It was a huge lesson learned.
Yeah, but
we
you got a head
through it.
start though, didn't you?
Right. And we got through it and here we are. So how are you doing over there? I try to pop in on your streams as much as I can. Did you see
well,
my
I'm getting bored of doing them. I'm just getting bored of doing that. I said I got to get up and start doing stuff, you know, more productive. Be more productive.
Right. Well, that's why I just lay out my time. I come here at 3:00 Central, and I know I'm going to be here for a few hours. Everybody in my house knows this is my time, and it's just what I enjoy.
Yeah, you gotta do what you want, you know, what you enjoy and what time you can do it, so it don't affect everybody, you know.
Right. Did you see
family
my puppies?
time?
Did you see my puppies?
I did, but I wasn't sure who had the puppies because, you know, when you got an old dog and you said she's having her period, that's not the one, is it? You didn't get her
Yes.
pregnant already?
Girl, I did not.
I said put a diaper on her. I said put a diaper on her.
No, Journey, I had a diaper on her. I had a diaper cover on her. And do you know, Horn Dog Meat over here ripped all that off.
Oh, ripped it off, licked it off, and everything. When she was on her period, you should keep them separated.
Well, lesson learned, and he is going to be fixed. And now I have 7 beautiful little puppies that need new homes.
Oh my God! Yeah, I see them. They're cute. But the other dog, was she smaller than the other dog? Who's the biggest out of them? Because you said she was only like 5 months old.
Yeah, well,
she was
Lola is just now 8 months. So she was 6 months when she got pregnant, and Meat is 3 years.
Oh, but how big what kind of breed are they? The same kind of breed or different breed?
Both pit. They're both full pit. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay then. Well, there, you started her off early. You're just making her pregnant.
I know.
I said, get those diapers.
You don't know how bad I felt.
But you know what you could have done? You could have put bands around your male dog, so he couldn't use his pee-pee. You get like diapers for the girls, and you get bands or disposable bands, and you wrap around their stomach. You know where the pee-pee is, and you should have done it to the male dog.
Okay, but the problem is I had the pee-pee things when he was little, and he would rip them off. So I did have those for him because when we were potty training him, I didn't want him to pee in the house. So he's over here looking at me.
Oh, you see, my dog, I got my male doggies too. He don't rip them off or nothing. He don't rip them off. So no, he don't rip them off or anything. But I use the disposable ones with some pads in them, and then I put the cloth bands around them because they're pretty, because they got all different colors and shapes and stuff.
Oh yeah,
make it all pretty. And it goes with his whatever outfit he's wearing, because I have to have my dog, because my dog's a Shih Tzu pedigree. He has to be color coded.
Exactly.
I've got too many clothes for him now. I was just sorting out his stuff, what I'm going to take. I said, damn, dog, you got like 6 cubes of stuff. I'm trying to get rid of the shit. And I said, and I got diapers, I got pads, I got, and I got your clothes, I've got your bows for your hair. I got about 10 bags of them. I got, his coats and jackets and in his leashes. I said, oh my God, you're going to take off my whole van. My whole van's going to be full of dog shit.
Murphy got a whole wardrobe, huh?
Oh my God. And now, top it off, I went and got him some snack food, like treats and stuff like that for the car, and some packaged food. He has his dry food, but for a treat, sometimes I give him the packet stuff. So I got that, and then I see a little dog bed. And he don't have a dog bed because he just don't need one. But now he's going to be in the car. I got him a new little dog bed. Cute little thing. I don't need a very big one because he's only a little dog.
Murphy's little. You don't need something.
Yeah, so I was trying to get rid of the shit, and then I go buy more. I said that'll match perfectly with my color-coded car that I'm going to have. Beige and soft browns, soft beiges. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I said, oh, my God.
Yeah, I hear you.
So now, are your pit bulls pedigree? Or they must?
No,
you don't know?
They're full.
Oh, so
they're
you
both
get
full-blooded. I have pictures of the parents and I knew where they came from. And that's a big dilemma now, is that I have 7 puppies that we're going to have find homes for. And
yeah, and then, when you find homes, you got to take them to the vet. You got to get this done. You got to get their shots done.
Yeah, it was nothing planned, nothing expected. I felt bad. I even found myself laying in bed talking to Lola, telling her I felt like a bad parent. I texted my daughter and I said, I'm sitting here in bed talking to Lola, telling her I'm a bad mom for letting her get pregnant.
Yeah, when we were saying, you better watch her. She's bleeding. You better cover her up. You better put a diaper on her. You better just wrap her up. That bloody dog will sniff her out.
I've never had a girl dog to have this experience before. It was a very well taught lesson.
You should have
So,
got another Mal. You should have got another Mal.
It's Hector's fault. I blame everything on him.
Yeah, blame him because
I blame him.
why do cars keep coming by me and shining their lights? They just, I park in the middle of nowhere and cars have to come right next to me. And then they don't even park right. Do you know what I mean? They'd half parked with the lights. And yeah, I was parked over the other side because I was eating, I went to Quitter at the gas station and they had a chicken pot pie. I've never tried them. So I thought I'd go and park in the Target parking lot at the back, you know. And this other car came, instead of parking like you normally do straight, he parks, you know, across the lines, right? Across the lines with his lights shining in my bloody driver's window.
Oh, God.
I was like, is it me or is people going crazy today? I said, because, you know, I looked, I don't know if they could see me because the lights were shining in my eyes. I looked at him and I was like, what the hell? You have to shine your light, turn them off, like he can hear me, right? I was like, what? I just wanted some peace, right?
You know,
and I'm thinking, they probably think I'm a homeless person. If they come and looked in my car, they would probably think I was homeless.
When I used to have an RV, I had this like curtain thing that I made to go across the front window because I hated that when I parked anywhere. It was like somebody always parked with their lights facing us. It never failed. So I had to make, like,
that's
this
what I
blackout
mean. It
curtain.
never fails. It never fails.
failed. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and I was like, that's happened twice to me today. And I was like, okay, I'm in a minivan. I mean, my God, I'm in a minivan. They probably watching out for minivans, right? Well,
Should
my
be
van does
concerned.
it does look like it's somebody sleeping in here because I've got my flooring down. Just got brought electric saw. It was only $30 and it will saw my wood that when I brought it from Home Depot, I had him cut so much off for the back where the stowaway seats, because I took the stowaway seats out of this car the other day. I did it myself.
Stop. So because my chat may not know, you want to explain a little bit what you got?
Oh, I'm not reading chat, so I don't know what they're saying because
I'm just saying, you know, with your travels.
Oh, yeah. So what I'm doing is I live at my daughter's house here in Wisconsin, and I've decided that I'm not going to live in the basement. And it's a nice basement, you know what I mean? But I'll just say the basement. It's a 3-room basement, 2 bedrooms and a laundry room. But I've decided that I'm in the basement and I'm not going to just exist and die in the basement. And I am packing up. I got my minivan. I'm going to make it a camper minivan and I'm going to travel. I'm traveling to sea. I'm going to Iowa. I'm going to Kansas, going to Oklahoma. I'm going to Colorado and wherever else I'm going. And I'm meeting up with YouTubers. And we are going to do a few things, like we might go to a court. There's some trials going on in Oklahoma. There's some court hearings and stuff like that. We're going to go camping. We're going to camp out in an RV. I'm going to live life. I was thinking I'm 64 and I'm thinking, no, I'm just not just going to sit here and do nothing for the rest of my life. And I said, my van is not a new van. It's a 2008. And I'm thinking, well, if it makes it, it makes it. And if it doesn't make it, I just have to stay where I am until I save up money so I can go get another one.
Exactly. Well, you just let me know when you get to the Houston area. Okay. When you get down to Houston, you let me know. We'll do something. We'll go to lunch or something.
Well, I'm not sure where that is. That like, that's way past. I mean, that's way past Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, right? It's up to
it's the South, and Texas is you're in the Gulf of Mexico when you get to Houston.
Yeah, you're near the ocean, like you're going towards the ocean. What part you are from? Yeah, okay, because Texas is a big place. Well, we'll let you know because we never know where we're gonna be.
There you go.
never know where we're gonna show up. So right now, I took out all my stowaway seats and took them out myself. And then I brought some paneling wood, which just fits 4x8. And I had the man cut it off, but I've changed my mind and I want the other piece at the front where the other stowaway seats were. I want that off, and I just don't want any wood there because I don't need it. So then I got little pieces of wood that I'm going to make little legs with to balance off the floor because it dips slightly. As you get near the drivers, it dips a little bit. And then you got those hooks where your seat goes, those metal bars. And you don't need to be stepping on them because they kill your feet. So, and then with the piece of wood, the plywood is about 1/4 inch thick or something. The back one, I'm making a hatch. So I got the brackets so I can lift it up. And then I've got some carpet that I'm going to put on the wood. And then I'm going to get some of those square tiles, about 12 of them, that I'm going to lay on top of that. And then I'm putting my carpet on top of that. And then after all that's done, then I'm bringing my stuff into my car that I'm going to take with me, like my refrigerator, all my camping equipment that I need, my stove, my little saucepans, my TV stand that I had was purposely I brought last time I was in my vehicle because it was small, it wasn't very wide, and it will fit a lot. And I'm using cubes, you know, those little cubes that you get, where something light. I'm not putting a lot of furniture in. I don't want the weight. And if something happens to my van, I don't want to be having heavy stuff to take out. So I'm keeping it light, well, as light as possible. And then I've just got all my pillows and blankets and stuff like that. And I'll just store it, you know, any way that I can store it and make it livable, you know, so I can move around. So I don't have to, I got to keep moving this to get this. And I got to put this, I got to get this, you know, I'm just going to. And now the hardest part is sorting out what I'm taking, like clothes. Because I'm going to go into, you know, winter and spring and summer.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to have to take a little bit of everything. And if I need anything else, I'm just going to go and buy it.
There you go. I think it's awesome that you're doing that. And I dropped your link in the chat. So if anybody hasn't subbed up, Journey to Get There, she's doing good over there on our channel. I enjoy popping into her chat every once in a while. And this new van escapade that you're on, I'm totally for it. It reminds me of the 80s when I had my Volkswagen van and we made it into a party van. And every weekend all got together in my van and went to the dances and all that stuff. So I think it's just awesome. And it's going to be like living the van life kind of thing. And I'm going to take some video along the way, some pictures, because, you know, I've done it before. I did it for 2 years before in a van. So I've got experience, but then I was working at a truck stop, you know, like Pilot, you know, the truck. Yeah. And I worked maintenance. So I could do my laundry there. I could take showers and everything. And I didn't live very far. So, do you know what I mean? I could park in their parking lot and nobody would bother me. Right.
You know, and I didn't really go camping and stuff. I was just living the van life, so I didn't have to pay for rent.
I don't blame you. You do what you got to do. And if you're happy, that's all that matters.
But before that, I went down to, from Wisconsin, you know, all through Illinois, all through Georgia. I went all the way down to, you know, Tennessee and stuff like that. All the way to Georgia, through the Carolinas, north and south, went all the way to Savannah. And then I've been through Wisconsin all the way to Miami, Florida a few times. So I've done that side of it. I've been to New York, Wisconsin, to Pennsylvania, picked up my friend and we went to New York to see Niagara Falls. So I've kind of done that end. And now I'm going to travel the other end because eventually I want to end up. I've been camping in Montana before when I lived in South Dakota. I lived there when we was in the Air Force. So we're going to work our way down, and then we're going to go to, when it gets a bit warmer, is go to like Montana through Utah to the Tetons and go camping there and just see the Tetons, whatever you call them. That's where I want to go see as well. You know, I want to get there at least once.
Dandy says pack for all 4 seasons in Colorado, even in the winter.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, well, living in Wisconsin, we could be hot and cold and freezing and stuff like that. But when you're in a car, you got to have your stuff with you. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, hey, I got to get in my closet, you know. So I've got all the winter stuff. So I'm just going to have to like put one storage for my coats and boots and everything for my winter stuff, and then one for my regular stuff, and one for like, you know, nice weather, kind of a hot day kind of thing, like some sweats and whatever, light stuff. I got a lot of clothes. I got a lot of clothes. I got a lot of coats.
Well, your daughter lets you use her storage, right?
Yeah, I used to collect coats, like people collect shoes or something. I was a coat person. I gotta have that. I love that coat. So I got coats for all seasons. I got long ones, short ones, jackets. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I've just got to sort out what I want, and then I'm at my daughter's house, and I already got a lot of stuff underneath the closet. I mean, underneath the stairs in the closet. It's quite big. All I have to do is take all that out, organize it again, okay? Organize it again, and then put more stuff in there and really chock-a-block it with stuff. Because right now, it's really not chock-a-block with stuff. But now I'm going to really pack it, like, because I've got my carpet. Well, this stuff I got is brand new, okay? But it's going in the closet because nobody's using it, because if they touch it, they break it, okay? In the house, touch it, break it. That's what happens. So now I just got to put all that stuff away and pack it all away. And the rest of my stuff is staying at my daughter's in the basement.
Oh, there you go.
She goes, "You're going to get storage?" I said, "Why not? I could store it here."
Right. Why pay for storage when you got a room at your daughter's?
Yeah. I said, what I'm going to do is, if you want to use this room and everything, I'm just going to say, do you want me to store it in that room, and you bring the bed and let one of your daughters come out in here and bring her bed out here. And then on the side, I'll leave you a walkway like it is now where the bed is. And I'm going to store everything to the side and stack it as high as I can. It's going to go underneath both stairs, like, because there's stairs, a closet, both sides, right? Because one goes up the stairs and one goes up to the kitchen, and the other flight of stairs goes upstairs to the 3rd floor, and that's where the other closet is. So that's why it's under the stairs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I said, I gotta know, because I'm gonna start packing it so you don't have to do it, and then you don't have to touch my stuff.
I hear you.
Right?
I hear you. Absolutely.
You can get it out your way, and you don't have to touch it. And so I didn't say I was going to give her any money for it, but she didn't ask neither.
Hey, storage is free when it comes to family sometimes.
Well, yeah. I was like, she said, how long you going to be? Who are you going to see?
Worry about it.
You don't know these people. I says, this is what I said to her. She does Bible study. She's into the church, and she's on the computer doing church stuff. She doesn't like all these trials and this crime. I can't talk to her about trials or crime or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? She don't watch it unless it concerns her or something. You know, and so you don't know these people. I says, well, you go to different places. You go to where did she go? She goes to Texas. She goes to California. She has been, not recently, but she has been. She's been to Illinois, and she goes to visit these people for the church, right? I said, but you don't know these people. I know these people. I said, yeah, but at one point, you never knew them. You met them for the first time.
Right.
Right? Just like I know these people, but I've never actually met them in person. But I'm going to meet them for the first time. Right?
Right.
Right. So I said, and you met those church people for the first time. And me doing crime, I said, with trials. Yeah, these church people are one person they're in church and another person when they're out. I said, because they are innocent.
Right.
There's a lot of people, pastors and everything doing no good. I says, and using the church. and then I said to her, "You sure you're not in a cult or something? Because I want to know, you in a cult or something?" She's like, because I said, because this church business don't pay your bills, okay?
No.
Well, anyway, so I was just saying, no, you just be careful and you trust people, right? I know these people, these YouTubers, have been to other people's homes and visited them. They didn't know them, and they visited them. They didn't know them, and they've already visited each other. Nothing's happened.
You just have to find that comfort level with somebody. As long as you're comfortable with them, and it's a personal thing.
Yeah, it's just like if you go anywhere and you go camping and you meet people on the campsite, it's the same thing.
True.
Or I'm not saying, you really got to watch out
You have
what
to
you're
be
doing
careful
and
for
everything.
yourself. You're right. You have to be careful for yourself. Just like going into a bar and having a few drinks. You just have.
That's right. Just think those years ago when that's why I used to go to the bar sometimes and you meet strangers. But I said, but you can't do that anymore. You can't do it anymore because these people are crazy.
And I'd be worried somebody slipped something in my drink. It's so common. And I see it so much it's a fear of mine.
Right. And that's why you never leave your drink unattended. You take your drink with you. You never leave it unattended for 1 minute. Never. Even when you go into the bathroom, you take your drink with you.
These new little things that they've made where you take with you to the bar that you put over your drinks and stuff like that. I'm like, I wouldn't trust that either. I wouldn't nope. I want my drink in my hand, in my sight. Not that I go out very often, but when I do, it stays in my hand. So
yeah, or you can get a napkin and put it over your glass.
There you go. Dandy has a good comment. Anyone can be in potential harm these days. No one can be trusted. And welcome in, Evamos. Good to see you, hon.
No. And if it ain't the person that you're with, it could be their friend.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. I mean, and you see, I don't know if you were here for the whole story, but this one that we were just, this Cynthia Gonzalez with Miss Perkins arrested, they were both dating the same man. The man said he was going to give her up to go with the Cynthia Gonzalez lady,
Yeah.
And DNA is proven otherwise all these years later. And the University of Arlington got involved, their criminology department, which is totally awesome that they can add, let these students do this in their extra time to help solve these crimes. I'm totally amazed by it.
Is that you?
Yeah, my phone's ringing.
Oh, I didn't think it was mine, but you never know. I might be hearing things around here because I had the radio on earlier. I didn't have my GPS on or anything on my phone because I know where the hell I'm going, right? And then suddenly my radio said, "Oh, there's traffic on the I-94 and stuff like that," and I was like, "What the hell?" It came out of my radio. And I'm thinking, I'm hearing damn things. I'm hearing damn things. My radio don't do that. It don't give directions. I swear to God, it went. And there was traffic on the freeway because I was going under the bridge. I said, damn, that freeway's busy. It's always busy. About 3 o'clock it was. It was about 3 o'clock then. And it said, I was just laughing to myself. I said, I swear I'm hearing things. I swear I'm hearing things.
That's
yeah.
Great.
Can you believe that?
My Google starts talking out of the blue to me when I'm watching somebody on TV or something. It triggers my Google, and he starts giving me all this information that I did not ask for. So I totally get it. I totally get that.
Yeah, but it
So-
wasn't on my phone, and I don't have it on my radio. I just got one of those. I got CD and a radio. I don't have
That's
GPS on it. It's a 2008. It came with the factory thing. It don't have all that mod stuff on it, right? No, it shouldn't even been telling me anything about I-94.
That's crazy.
Just like my GPS would tell me, hey, the traffic's slow. There's a cop ahead. There's this. That's why I was going crazy. I said, what the hell? I'm hearing things. I swear to God.
They eavesdropping on you and you don't even know it. Look, even Dandy said Siri is a psycho. I'm telling you, these they eavesdrop.
I was listening to Christmas music because we got the Christmas music going on here, right? Already. It's not even Thanksgiving and they're playing Christmas music. And I was listening to that and suddenly the music in the background went quiet and it says there's traffic on I-40. There's slow traffic in that and stuff. And I was like, what? I'm like, who am I talking to? Do you know what I mean? I said, what? And it wasn't a news flash. It wasn't a news flash. You know, oh, the news broke up and told us about I-94 traffic because who cares? It's always busy at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just laughing to myself. I said, oh my God. I said, somebody's messing with me. Somebody's messing with me. Like, you know, it might be my aunt. Look, my aunt just died. And of course, everybody lives in England, right? So that's my dad's sister. She was the youngest. She's about 10 years older than me. And because my dad had me when he was very young, like 15 years old. And so she's like the youngest kid. Well, anyway, my sister said, you know, she was bedridden and she had dementia. I didn't even know she had dementia. They said, no, she was in a nursing home and she couldn't walk anymore. And she didn't even know her own sister. I said, well, nobody told me that she had dementia and she was bedridden and she don't know anybody. Well, anyway, she just died. She just died.
That's hard. That's hard. Dandy says condolences on your aunt passing.
Thanks. And she's 74. She was only 74, but she's had dementia for quite a while. I was like, wow. I said, you know what? I was thinking my dad had a bit of dementia because when I used to, because my dad died at the end in May this year. My dad died.
Wow.
And he's the oldest. He was the oldest out of the 4 kids. And I used to talk to him on Facebook and he go, you know, you're my daughter, right? You're my daughter? And I'd be like, yeah, I think so. The DNA says I am. I says to him, you got dementia. I said, if you got dementia, you got dementia.
It's a real hard thing to live with. It is. My mother-in-law has it. And
he was diagnosed with it. Well, when he died and everything, my sister said, well, they said he had some dementia. I said, I thought so because, you know, he kept on asking me some crazy questions like, you know, you're my daughter. You're my daughter? You're my daughter, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, the DNA says so.
Yeah, they get on repeat. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to go here in a minute because mom's in there searching for food and she doesn't cook for herself. And I just fed her before I started streaming. I've only been streaming 2 hours and 45 minutes. And it's she forgets she eats. So she thinks she needs to eat again. And it's just part of the dementia. Just part of the dementia and Alzheimer's. So.
Well, I worked with dementia. I worked in a dementia unit for years. So I know all about dementia and did home care and everything. I worked with all the dementia people. And yeah. So anyway, he died and she died. I'll let you go now. But I was thinking, wow, I wonder if it's no, I just want to know if it's running in the family because I said, because she suffered with it. And my dad had a little bit of it. And I said to my sister, we better watch out, you know, keep an eye out with each other because one of us might be getting it. She goes, yeah, I think my sister's got it already. Because I
definitely think it does have hereditary.
Yeah, the
Hereditary
women.
genetics.
The
Hereditary
women.
genetics.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes, because my grandmother had it. My father has some of it. And it is a concern with me with the memory loss that I've had. It is a concern.
Yeah.
I worry about
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
I totally feel you with that. Okay, we're going to drop
Okay,
down.
then. Well, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys
Absolutely.
next time. And thanks, chat. Nice meeting you all. And I finally, popped in because, I've been busy.
You've been busy. Well, I'm so glad you popped up. And anytime, like I said, just up chat. And, I try to keep them open panels. So whenever I'm discussing a case or anything, if anybody wants to come up and chit chat, I'm here.
Yeah. Anybody can come up and say a few words, whatever. Say hi to everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Dirty. Thank you
All
for
right.
coming up. I will
All right.
see you soon. All right. Bye.
Kick me out. Kick me out.
I am. Okay. All right. I want you all to know that I appreciate every one of you being here. I know we just kind of went all over the place today. I enjoy the cold case stuff. I enjoy the fact that all these years later that something can be solved. I love it. I think that is the most fascinating technology that has come along lately, is to be able to solve these cases where these people need closure. The mental health that over time they have to deal with and maybe get some resolve. And I find that totally amazing and outstanding. So with that, I want you all to have a great rest of your evening, and till tomorrow, or I see you next time. Peace. Rubber out. Y'all have a great rest.